Hello and welcome FPL managers and welcome to Ghana Football Fantasy, and of course the season starts and we are back. Glad to see everyone and hope everyone is doing well, and of course tomorrow is the deadline, so ahead of the deadline this is why we are live, and I hope everybody is going to have a wonderful season, and we are going to make sure that over the next 1.5 hour or 2 hours, I don't know how long it will take, but we'll try to keep the discussion short, and then it depends on how many questions people are sending. But at least within that discussion and through the questions and answers, we'll try and get everything sorted. But before we get into all that, let me just welcome some familiar faces, some wicked faces, some naughty faces, some people with strange headlines, some people with very genuine FPL ranks, and some people with some stats, and I am bloody the host. Yeah. But anyway, warm welcome everyone. Saif, good to see you, and Ashfaq, good to see you, and of course Parvez is joining me right at the side. We are together, of course, but everyone, glad to see everyone live on the show. Welcome.
Right. It's great to be back, right? Back again. So just a shout out to Nadim Bhai here. So Nadim Bhai, to thoughts and prayers for him. Nadim Bhai went through a really bad bout of health recently. He had bad fever. He was really down on his health. That was partially due to the reason that he lost to me late last season. So এখানে FPL anxiety কিছুটা কাজ করতেছিল নাদিম ভাইয়ের, একটু লেট রিয়াকশনে বা সামথিং, সামনের সিজনে সে কিভাবে করবে এই অ্যাংজাইটিতে তার একটু জ্বর আসলো। তো আমি একটু ভিউয়ারদের রিকোয়েস্ট করবো যে আপনারা একটু তাকে স্মরণে রাখেন, একটু মানে দোয়ায় রাখেন আর কি, ভাইয়ের আর কি জন্য বা কিছু আর কি, যে সে সুস্থ থাকে সব সময় বা কিছু ভালো হেলথে থাকে, আমরা সেটাই সব সময় চাই। এই অ্যাংজাইটি থেকে সে যেন একটু বের হয় আর কি।
Thanks, Ashfaq. Very kind. And you're such a well-wisher, of course. I can understand, Ashfaq. But I think the viewers, even before you decided to join and come and say this kind of pitch, the viewers already knew that I had gone through a very bad health situation. So the viewers are aware. It's just that you are a bit late. Yeah, you haven't been on the show for a while. So people have forgotten you a little bit. So it's good. It's good that you're kind of reminding people that I'm Ashfaq and this is what I do, and it's good. It's good. Saif, how are you?
It's good to be back, right?
Good to be back. Excited about the new season?
Kind of excited, but this season feels much different because I'm not feeling the excitement that I used to feel before. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's the season
you are married now. You have gone older now, so you spend your weekends with your wife rather than in your mobile. So things will be a bit different now. It's likewise.
You have been all those things much earlier, so you still have that excitement and energy. So I don't know what changed this season, but let's see.
Saif, do one thing. Talk to me tomorrow just ahead of the deadline. Yeah. Just try to save your team. Try to save your team ahead of the deadline, and I'm sure you'll feel the excitement. Yeah. Just try to save your team before the deadline finishes. Yeah, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, baki ase deadline hawa, thik ase. Then just try to save the team, and then let me see how much excited are you about FPL. Yeah. I can see. I'm sure it will kick in. Yeah. It will kick in.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can go around bantering each other, and we can go around, but there are so many audiences already waiting. I can see already live questions coming in. But audience, let's get straight into the pod. We have a lot of discussions, very important discussions that you need to know ahead of Game Week 1. And I think all these discussions will really try to help you to make up your Game Week 1 team. So stay with us, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed as usual. Yeah. And of course, don't worry about your questions. Just keep sending them in by 11:45, and we will try and answer all the questions. Yeah, there it is. I brought the ticker. You can see already. Please send all your questions. We will answer all questions that comes in before 11:45. So if you have thousands of questions to ask, and you have thousands of problems you're facing, no problem. Just send it before 11:45 and we will answer. Doesn't matter how late it is. Yeah. So stay in with viewers, and I can see a lot of viewers. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really love all the wonderful support that you guys are giving us. Thank you so much. So straight into the show. This is, of course, your Footalochona. Now that we have so many pods lined up, let me to shout out which pod we are doing right now. Yeah. So this is Footalochona. Yeah. And this is where you see Ashfaq and Saif joining in every week, and with Parvez sometimes coming in or maybe not coming in. I'll be the host as usual, talking rubbish with you. But anyway, this is the Footalochona. So the show where you see at least Ashfaq and Saif and me, that's Footalochona for you. Yeah. And we will be talking about Game Week 1. And of course, if you haven't followed, liked, subscribed, please do so. There's a lot of interesting contents, lots of videos, lots of pods are coming all your way throughout the season. We will be with you. So do keep us in our support. And then shout out to our sponsors, Fantasy Football Scout. Of course, all the data that you see on our pod and all the data that you see on our page and everything that we do with data is all taken from Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you want to sign up, there is a 30% discount currently at preseason. I think this is the best deal that you can ever get. So, whatever the price is, you get 30% discount. So that's a great deal. So please do click on the website link that is on our page, and you'll be able to sign in, and that would be great. But yeah, so everything that you see, predicted points, zonal weakness, all the stats that you see, everything comes from the members area. And there are so many articles and so many interesting discussion that happens inside the forum. So please feel free to join. If you're facing any trouble of joining in with the Fantasy Football Scout, do reach out to us. We'll be happy to assist you in order to get your membership. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned. Yeah. Right. So these are the hot topics, guys, and let me start. And first, let me read out. So we are going to cover, these are the topics: tactical changes and what it means for FPL. So basically, quite a number of teams, অনেকগুলো টিমেরই আমরা দেখতেছি যে অনেক চেঞ্জেস আসতেছে। সো এই চেঞ্জেসগুলোর কারণে আসলে কোন কোন FPL অ্যাসেট ভালো হতে পারে বা কোন কোন FPL অ্যাসেট ভালো নাও হতে পারে। That's something what we are going to discuss. So it's more of a very FPL point of view, but yeah, we'll talk about football tactics a little bit, and then we will tell you as to why certain assets can be good and certain assets might not be very good. Yeah. And then we're going to go into the top selection from all positions, something you know already, but we'll be going through. So we'll cover defenders, midfielders, forwards, and yeah, and goalkeepers, of course. And then the battle of the 6.5 midfielders, that is something we will cover. The best second forward option. So everybody's got Haaland, but who are you going to take after Haaland is the big question here. And then we will be sharing our own drafts. So Saif will be sharing his, Ashfaq will be talking his one, I will be sharing my one, and of course Parvez will be sharing his one. So I'm sure this is enough for you to know, and I'm sure this will help you out all the way. So stay right here. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into the first one, and I will discuss the first one. So the first one we are talking about, this is Liverpool. And I think Liverpool needs a lot of discussion here, because কারণ অনেকেই জিজ্ঞেস করতেছিল আমাদেরকে, আমরা যখন প্রাইস রিভিল করছিলাম, আমরা যখন রেট মাই পিল করতেছিলাম, অনেকে আমাদেরকে জিজ্ঞেস করছিল সালা কি লিভারপুল কি হবে না হবে। So what we tried to do is I really went into a lot of articles, tried to read, saw a lot of preseason matches, and this is the analysis what we got. So if you don't understand, just to tell you, the white marking, the white arrows are just to explain to you that is the run they don't make. So white arrow is basically they are not making that run. The black arrows are basically the runs that they are making. The square boxes are the space that they are occupying, and the circles are the space that they are not occupying. Just that you are clear with it. Yeah. So last season, if you have a quick, I'm going to be very quick with this, so please try and focus on this one. If you can see in the last season, the graph there, you see there is Henderson there. Just above Henderson, there is the square box in number 1. So এখানে যেটা হতো যে হেন্ডারসন পিছনে আসতো এবং ডান দিকে চেপে যেত, এবং ডান দিকে চেপে যাওয়ার কারণে ডান দিকের কাভারেজ হিসেবে হেন্ডারসন থাকতো। হেন্ডারসন যেহেতু ডান দিকে থাকতো, যার কারণে বাম দিকের জায়গাটা একটু বামের ভিতরের দিকে জায়গাটা একটু ফ্রি থাকতো, যেখানে সালা আলটিমেটলি কাটিং করতো। ঠিক আছে। এখন আমরা যদি 2 নম্বরের বক্সের দিকে দেখি, তাহলে এই জায়গাটা হলো যেখানে ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার আর্নল্ড ইনভার্ট হয়ে আসলে 2 নম্বরে স্পেস হয়ে আসতো, এবং এখান থেকে সাধারণত সে শট নিতে বা ক্রসেস করতে, যেটা আসলে মেড হিম আ ভেরি গুড এফপিএল আসেট। আর 3 নম্বরে আমরা যেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি সেটা হলো রবার্টসন এই জায়গাটাকে আলটিমেটলি এই স্পেসটাকে অকুপাই করছে। What we are seeing in the pre-season, because Henderson has left, because Fabinho has left, and because Klopp has shifted the system a little bit, this is what we are understanding right now. What we see is new player, Henderson chole geche, Fabinho chole geche, McAllister is there, and Szoboszlai is here. Okay, so এই দুজন থাকার কারণে যেটা হয়েছে যে the difference between McAllister and Henderson is ম্যাকালিস্টার এখন ডান দিকে 1 নম্বরে যদি আমরা বক্সের সার্কেলের দিকে দেখি, ম্যাকালিস্টার ইজ নট মুভিং ইন দ্যাট ডাইরেকশন। যেটা হেন্ডারসনের ক্ষেত্রে আমরা দেখতাম যে হেন্ডারসন ডান দিকে চলে যাচ্ছিল, ম্যাকালিস্টার ইজ নট ডুইং দ্যাট। ম্যাকালিস্টার ইজ ইদার গোয়িং আপ অর গোয়িং ডাউন। সো ম্যাকালিস্টার ডান দিকে না যাওয়ার কারণে ডান দিকের জায়গাটা কিন্তু এখনো কেউ অকুপাই করছে না। সো দ্যাট ইজ ওয়্যার সালা ইজ প্লেইং। সো সালা ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি নট কাটিং ইন এনিমোর, কারণ ওই জায়গাটাকে আলটিমেটলি অকুপাই করতে হবে, নাহলে ওই জায়গাটা ফাঁকা থাকলে ওই দিক দিয়ে অ্যাটাক হবে। So that is why you see in number 2, Salah is not making those runs but staying in the touchline. Yeah, and in the number 3 section, what you see is গত সিজনে বিকজ ম্যাকালিস্টার ওয়াজ হেন্ডারসন ডান দিকে চলে যাওয়ার কারণে যেটা হইতো যে হেন্ডারসনের জায়গাটাতে আলটিমেটলি ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার যাইত। কিন্তু এখন যেটা দেখা যাচ্ছে যে বিকজ ম্যাকালিস্টার ইজ ইন দ্যাট পজিশন ওয়ার হেন্ডারসন ইউজুয়ালি ইউজ টু প্লে, যার কারণে ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার এখন পিভট হিসেবে খেলতেছে রাদার দেন মোর অফ অ্যান অ্যাটাকিং মিডফিল্ডার। So the space he's occupying, you can see the clear difference between last season, the box number 2, and the pre-season box number 3. You can clearly see the differences there. And number 4 is যেটা হচ্ছে যে যেহেতু ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার-আর্নল্ড more going into the midfield and playing as a pivot, কোনাতে তখন ডান দিকে চলে আসতেছে ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার-আর্নল্ড। This is stretching the Liverpool defense a little bit too much. যার কারণে রবার্টসন is not trying to move forward so much, এবং টিমটা আলটিমেটলি 3 জন ডিফেন্ডার হলো মেনলি অকুপাই করতেছে রবার্টসন, অ্যান্ডারসন, কোনাতে। So what we think, what we understand from this, all this is, this will make Salah a more of an assistant, because he's on the touchline and he's providing more assists rather than goals. I'm not saying Salah is still a bad asset. What I'm trying to say is Salah might not be able to score as many goals, or he might not be as attacking as he used to be in the previous season. He will definitely provide a lot of assists, most likely. Yeah. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I have said before that Trent Alexander-Arnold most likely is not going to be an FPL asset, not because of his price, but because of the position he's taking. That's one. And the second thing is his set pieces have been taken over to an extent by Szoboszlai. So those are the reasons as to why we think Mo Salah or no Salah. Now I am with no Salah, to be honest. So 12.5 million price should be assisted in Jabo, because I don't think so it offers that much value. Neither I'm going with Trent Alexander-Arnold, because I don't think so Trent Alexander-Arnold offers as much as he did as a 7.5 midfielder or a defender. Yeah. So that's Liverpool, by the way. Any questions or anything to ask here, Ashfaq or Saif? I'd ask Saif first. He's a Liverpool fan. He wants to, if he has something to say. Saif?
I think Salah staying wide also means that Jota and Diaz, whoever plays on the left, is getting into the box much more, and they will have more goal scoring opportunities, in my opinion. And another key thing is the changes in midfield, because previously Liverpool had workhorses there, because there was very little creativity apart from Thiago. And both McAllister and Szoboszlai are really creative midfielders. They always look for the through balls and always look to get into the box. So the striker, whoever plays, we also get lots of through balls from both Szoboszlai and McAllister, and also from Salah, because he will be operating on the wider space, and he's a master of through balls and crosses from there. So as you said, Salah will get lots of assists. So the key player will be whoever starts in up front and whoever starts from the left. I think they might be key FPL options if we see a trend, or if we can identify whoever starts regularly. Because the thing is, except for Salah, Darwin, Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, all can play and interchange positions, and uh, all can start and rotate. And so I think all of them are pretty much on the same level as of now. So it's pretty tough to identify which duo will start alongside Salah. And also interestingly, in the last pre-season, I think Liverpool started with 4 attackers. So Gakpo Diaz and Jota all started alongside Salah, and then Nunes, I think, came on for Jota. So I think this might also be a ploy against the weaker sides, where Liverpool will unleash all the four attackers alongside McAllister and Szoboszlai. So if we can identify which duo can play alongside will play alongside Salah, I think there lies the explosive options, because as you said, I think from what I've seen in Twitter, maximum people are going without Salah, and maximum people are going with only Haaland as the premium options, and they are doubling upon Man United midfielders and doubling upon Arsenal midfielders. So I think alongside those four midfielders and also lots of mid-price midfielders are there. We will discuss the 6.5 price point. So alongside those, I think Jota and Gakpo, and Jota I think will be a key option because he has been listed as a midfielder. So if he starts regularly, I think Jota can be an explosive option. And also, in my opinion, I think Szoboszlai can be one because he's really attacking from open play and he has taken over the set pieces, and he already had two or three assists from set pieces directly in the preseason. So I think he can be another option. And Trent for me is a really no go. He has not been attacking in the preseason and he has not been taking that many set pieces as before because Szoboszlai is here. And as I said, because of the creativity of Szoboszlai and McAllister, Liverpool are not that much reliant on Trent now for creativity. So I think Trent at 8 point, even if you have the funds, I think he is not that much of a good option. And also Liverpool has been conceding lots of goals in pre-season. They still haven't signed any defensive midfielder. Kevin, who is not gone. So I think Liverpool will be going back into the earlier era of Klopp, earlier times of Klopp, where they will play to outscore the opponent. So I think we will see lots of 2-2s, 3-2s, 4-3s. So I will avoid Liverpool defense altogether.
Thanks, Saif. I think you echo most of the sentiments that I have kind of said. Ashfaq, any comments? If there is, make it quick.
So I quite agree with Sci-Fi. So early in the FPL preseason, one of the biggest dilemmas was between whether to select Trent or Salah. The Trent versus Salah debate was there. But as you rightly said, based on the current strategy here, so what we're seeing is that because Henderson shifted to the right during the last season, and as we see, McAllister does not do that. McAllister rather moves up above the field. So there's a big gap what we can see in the right back or the right wing flank. And Fabinho was I think more or less evened out defensive midfielder. Jones, I think, is not. I don't think he's a natural made for made replacement of Fabinho. I think if they want to shore up their defense, they would do good to bring up talents like Levia or Casado, which they're highly linked with. So I think the investing in Trent does not warrant much attention at this point because of Liverpool is leaky in defense. There is no Fabinho like last season who would uh, put a bit of put more strength into their defenses. And Robertson again is not an option because Robertson rightly said because Trent is moving up on the second defensive midfield. There is no cover, at the back as well. So Liverpool defense, 8 million pounds with Trent is a no go for me. Personally, I would rather start with Salah. I know what many managers are saying right now that because they have the argument that Salah is going wider, not inside the D box. He is going wider. But the thing with Salah is that suppose let's say there is a small changes in strategy and Salah does come into some sort of form and Salah does have one or two double digits the first two seasons. If you go without Salah, then I think it would be difficult for you to incorporate Salah at that point without having to do some major surgery in your team. So it's much easier to downgrade to other assets in the second or third game weeks rather than you know upgrade to Salah within the first or second game weeks. I think that is something managers should take into consideration. So because he still has a good ownership, I would rather go start with Salah and then watch his matches, see which positions he's getting in, then make an judgment call on whether to downgrade him or not. Because downgrading from Salah is much more easier than upgrading to Salah.
Fair point, Ashfaq. And then I don't mean to, just to be clear here, audience, I don't mean to say that you should go without no Salah. I mean, I'm not saying this is no Salah at all. Yeah, by just this. What I'm trying
So
to explain is why you saw so many assists from Salah rather than why you saw so many goals instead of seeing so many goals from Salah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain here. Of course, feel free if you can go
another,
with Salah. At least,
another point
yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
is, even when playing wider, Salah is the player with the highest attacking returns from all of preseason.
Yeah,
Considering all the
true.
clubs, he has the highest number of attacking returns. So he has the assist in his locker, and even if he, as Ashfaq said, if there is a formation change or there is a strategical change, then Salah will come into play from the box. He will be deadly from there, and also he has penalties in his locker. Salah is Salah. We all know the risk of going without Salah, so it depends on your risk appetite and your team balance. So
Yeah,
I am still
true.
not decided whether I will go with or without Salah, even though my draft
I think
has Salah.
I think that's the dilemma everybody was facing. But I
Yeah,
think this analysis kind of gives a bit of more perspective into what people can now think about it. And যদি মানুষের মনে এখন প্রশ্ন আসে যে ভাই এত সালা অ্যাসিস্ট খালি দিবে গোল দিচ্ছে না কেন, this is what it says. That's it. That's all it says. It doesn't say Salah becomes a bad asset. Yeah, it doesn't. What it says is why Salah is giving so many assists rather than giving goals. That's as simple as that. Yeah. But what it makes definitely very clear is that Trent Alexander-Arnold is not really an FPL option right now. That's what it says.
yeah.
That's all I understood from everything that I saw, everything that I read, everything that I, watching the matches and highlights and tactics and everything. This became very clear. Okay, let's move to the next team, which is Arsenal. Now, before we get into the Arsenal, just wanted to tell you one thing. Now, all the transfers that Arsenal made, be it Havertz, be it Rice, or be it Timber, if you carefully look at it, they're all playing on the left. So it's a very left-sided buy or transference from Arsenal this time. Now, if you ask why all the left-sided, is because this is the same side where Arsenal in the Europa match against Sporting were actually conceding a lot of chances, and this is what made Arsenal very leaky last season. Yeah, because either Tierney, Zinchenko, or even sometimes Tomiyasu sometimes played there. It didn't really make a lot of difference to Arsenal. So what they did, they went around buying Havertz, they went around buying Timber, and they went around buying Rice. Now, if you look at it, look at the preseason, which is on the left side, you will see that they are all playing on the left. Timber is the left wing, Havertz is kind of the left number 8, and then you have Rice, who kind of plays as a left pivot. Yeah. Now, what you see in the preseason is Havertz was playing more as a number 8 rather than as a striker. And what he was doing is, and what he's very good at, is that he's usually moving up into the spaces. Yeah. Now the space, because he's moving up in the spaces to number 1 box, which I'm showing here in the preseason chart, what happens is the number 2 space, which Havertz was occupying, is being left behind. And because it's being left behind, to occupy that Havertz space, Martinelli or Trossard, whoever is playing there, is kind of trying to come in and occupy that Havertz space in number 2 box. Yeah. So Havertz moves up to number 1, the space that is there. And because of that space that is left behind by Havertz, Martinelli and Trossard is taking over to the number 2 place. Now, what we saw in number 3 is, you see Timber is moving up or right till the flank. Right till the flank he's moving up, because that is the space that is left behind now by Martinelli and Trossard. So that is why you see Timber is kind of overlapping. Yeah. And in the number 4, what you see is White. Ben White is then kind of moving up. He's become the more of a standard right back in Arsenal. So when he's moving up to the number 4 position, what you or number 5 position or number 4 position, what you would see is, this is where you would see Odegaard, because he's such a creative and such a wonderful and a balanced midfielder. He's kind of then taking up the space of number 4. So he's kind of more of a backup in case Rice misses the ball or Saka misses the ball. So that is the coverage it is having. Now, because White is moving up in the right wing, you see that Saka is actually then moving, cutting in. So Saka then becomes thing. Now, what's become very clear in the Community Shield is there's a bit of a change here. In the Community Shield, Havertz played as a striker, and because they were playing Manchester City, interesting thing happened is that Partey and Rice both started. And I think because Partey and Rice both started, what happens is Havertz was becoming more of a sort of like, going through the spaces, but he was also coming down to press. But Martinelli and Trossard, whoever played, was kind of cutting in. Saka was, of course, cutting in. What was really happening is Odegaard was moving a little bit in that more of doing a lot of defensive duty. So what becomes very clear in the Community Shield is like if you have a strong team, if Arsenal is playing a very strong team, or a very attacking team, let's say top six teams, most likely you will see Rice and Partey both play. But if you have only Rice playing, then he would play mostly from the left. And if you have Partey playing, he would see him. He's playing more from the center. What you'd expect is a man to watch out from here. Definitely, Saka becomes a very good option because he's still the most attacking. Because there's so much focus on the left, because there's so much shift and changes in the left side. What you would see is that Saka there is limited focus on the right side, and that makes Saka kind of more easy for Saka to get into. So Saka is definitely an option. Martinelli and Trossard, if Havertz is getting into the space, then I think Martinelli and Trossard's FPL opportunity reduces significantly. What becomes also important is that Odegaard's is doing a lot of more defensive duty, and I think that's quite clear. So yeah, that's all I had from the Arsenal one. Any question, Ashfaq, or anything to understand, or anything to clarify?
The interesting thing would be to look at this how Arsenal copes with the loss of Jesus right now. So the onus is there whether Havertz starts or Martinelli starts as center forward or Trossard starts from the left. I think there's a lot of chat, in the social community here whether Trossard is a good differential. I'm also toying with the idea of having Trossard. I currently have Trossard in my team. I'm not sure whether he'll stay there because I'm looking for a differential in my team, and Trossard, based on his performance in the Community Shield, looks a very good bet. But I think the main thing that Arsenal needs to focus on is how they will cope with the loss of Jesus, because Havertz, what you've seen recently is, he's not a traditional center forward, what you can say, and he often drops deep, plays, acts as the target man or the playmaker role. So there is no proper. I don't think there's a proper center forward in the team. Do not consider Nekatia, there's a proper center forward in the team right now. So that is something I think Arsenal will. That remains to be seen how Arsenal will cope with that. Another concern that I have is with Timber. I'm not sure, although Timber is playing at the left back for Ajax. I think he predominantly played in the center back position or sometimes in the right back position. So Timber left back, I'm not sure if he will play there on the long run. I think
I think he will.
Zinchenko is still
Arsenal fans continue.
Arteta's favorite left back in the team because he's a bit of an inverted left back. Uh,
Yeah. So is
so
Timber.
that is
So is
something I
Timber.
think that needs to be considered as well. My gut feeling says
Yeah.
that Timber in the near future might replace White as the right back, and Zinchenko might come in and left back. Though people who have invested in White or is thinking of White, should take into consideration of that.
Yeah, that's a fact. But what I've seen from the Arsenal fans and everybody kind of saying that they know that the problem with Zinchenko is not physically very astute. Let's say, yeah. Timber on the other hand is kind of very physical and he has a good passing range. The only problem with Timber is that he doesn't have a very good cross. So if Timber improves on that, people are really calling Timber as the next FPL asset defender to go for from the beside Gabriel and Saliba, of course. Timber is being shouted as the next FPL asset if his cross is improved. But I think overwhelming majority in the Arsenal fans says Timber is going to stick there even if Zinchenko comes in, and because now Arsenal has the UCL and everything, all the cup ties, so I think there's going to be the rotation there. Yeah, so that's the concern. Yeah. Saif, anything to add, or you have nothing to add?
Yeah, I also thought Tinder will come in to replace White because he has been predominantly playing as a center back and sometime as a right back. So they are both pretty similar players. So I think Arteta is trying to replicate what White did successfully as the right back by playing Timber as the left back. So the crossing problem is since he has not been playing from the left previously, I think that's a bit of a problem for him when they go on, or when he goes on the attack. So I think that needs to be improved. So why I think Zinchenko might come in to replace him in the easier fixtures when they can attack a bit more and they will need his process. But otherwise, I think Timber is in the best 11, in my opinion. And also, another thing is the purchases of Timber, Rice, and the likely purchase of Raya, who is coming in and who I think is much better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. Ramsdale is a bit overrated goalkeeper.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they all will likely improve Arsenal defense a lot. So even though
yes.
that has not transpired in the preseason, they have been leaking goals in the preseason. But I think 1-2 game weeks in, I think they will their defenses out. And Rice is a wonderful midfielder, and that's a very good addition to their team. They should be more stubborn defensively. So I think FPL pricing Gabriel as 5 is a really bit of a joke. So Gabriel should be in everyone's team, I think, because he has the highest expected goals I think last season. So with a much better teammates around him and much more defensively solid team, he might be a defender who will cross the 180-90 point barrier this season, in my opinion. So a defensive double up can also
Totally
be an
agree with
option.
you.
Yeah, a defensive double up can also be an option because we're not sure where Martinelli and Trossard game times because they will rotate and then Havertz can also play in that position when Jesus comes back in. So Saka alongside Gabriel and Saliba can also be an option from the while choosing your Arsenal trio, because by their opening fixtures are so good, a triple up should be there from Arsenal. So currently, lots of people have the two up front and then one of Gabriel and Saliba. So Gabriel Saliba alongside Saka can be another option if they become defensively solid and if they can sort out the defensive issues.
I was chatting with Sankap the other day about Arsenal, and I think what he said is because Rice and Havertz, I mean, Rice is particularly Rice he was talking about. One thing he said is like Rice will take a little bit of time to settle into the system. Once Rice settles in and he starts to play as a left midfield, and Partey becomes the central midfield and Odegaard becomes the right midfield, I think Arsenal's defense will become significantly strong and they will become very difficult to break down. And something he said is something that the Community Shield kind of showed how Haaland was kind of left alone. He was not getting chances. He was not being able to do much. And I think that kind of indicates what you're trying to say was it kind of indicates as to when Rice and Partey has a very good understanding and have kind of gelled into the team. I think Arsenal defense becomes extremely strong. And when that happens, then doubling up on Arsenal would be good. Those of you who are thinking of going Ramsdale, yeah, I totally agree. And I think Arsenal fans, including Sankar, said, I don't think so. Ramsdale is an option and you're just wasting your Arsenal spot. Ashfaq, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I have a question to both of you. So
Yeah.
one of the small dilemmas that I think some of, not many, but maybe some managers are facing us, because Saliba and Gabriel are both, equally priced, and Saliba being the better defender of the two, and Saliba I think is a bit of a more bonus point getter between the two. And if you look at the early season run of the last season, you will find that Saliba performed better than Gabriel. But the advantage of Gabriel is, of course, that he has a better goal threat. He gets many touches in the box. He has many goal attempts, etc. But between them, obviously Saliba is the better defender. And one or two instances, I think last season we've also seen one or two mistakes from Gabriel as well. So between them, do you think that there is a chance that Gabriel might lose his place to Timber in the near future?
Well,
I don't think so.
I asked about. I asked Sankalp at least. I'm not an Arsenal expert, to be honest. So I asked Sankalp, and I had a lot of chat about Arsenal, and everything that you see in the screen is kind of most of his thinking and his understanding and his explanation. Also with some other Arsenal fans as well, and they
I'm
kind of all
asking this
agree
because
on.
it does not seem that Saliba would lose his position as a center back. I
So
think
what?
he's Arsenal's
So,
best center back.
so yeah, Ashfaq, just coming back to your question, one of the question was, what about the defenses? In terms of like who gets it. He said Gabriel is nailed. They all say Gabriel is nailed, Saliba is nailed. What is not really nailed is something that we already discussed: Timber and White, and where Havertz will play, whether it's Martinelli, whether it's Trossard, whether it's going to be Nketiah, whether it's going to be Havertz, or these are the places that are problematic. Yeah, there is no problem with Saka. There's no problem with Gabriel. There's no problem with Saliba. There's no problem with Odegaard. Yeah, there is no problem with these four players. What the problem is, because this is why the left side conundrum. That is why we have put this as a title, left side conundrum. Is the left side who's going to play? Martinelli, we don't know. Even if he plays, whether he's going to play wide, whether he's going to come in, we don't know. Yeah, it's not sure. It's going to take a few games to see. And I think Arsenal is trying to be very flexible. They might be very fluid. They might change the system sometimes. They might change the formation. So yeah, it's that the problem. So it's Timber, it's White, it's Martinelli, it's Trossard, it's Jesus, not Jesus, sorry, it's Nketiah, it's Havertz. These are the places you're not sure if you take them where they're going to play. Yeah, but there is no problem with Saka. There's no problem with Gabriel. There's no problem with Saliba, and there is no problem with Jesus. That's what people told me. Yeah, just that Yeah. So
Another thing I was
I don't think so. Gabriel is losing his place. Yeah, Saif, sorry, over to you.
yeah. Another thing I was thinking is people have this perception that Saliba is a better defender. So I did a quick check on FBref. You just go on FBref and check his defensive stats. It's pretty mediocre. So just because he stands out a bit in the field and he has better pass completion, so he has been perceived as the better defender. But Gabriel is, I think, is the more stout defender, and he is the leader of that defense. So he is pretty much required. And I also remember that match against Bournemouth where Saliba, I think, lost 9 aerial duels against Tony. So Saliba, I think, is a pretty good defender, but he still has a lot to learn to be a complete central defender. So I think both of them are pretty much set as the players. So because they only played one season together, so they will grow as a pair by playing alongside. So I don't think there is any rotation option or any chance of Gabriel losing his spot. And we have been seeing in the preseason, Timber and White, I think, will be playing as the right and left-sided defenders. So that is, I think, Arthur's ultimate goal. And I think Zinchenko will be the one who will be coming in will be used as the rotation option or against the weaker opposition.
Yeah. So for now, it's wait and watch. Yeah, the left side, wait and watch. That's the main message what I'm trying to give everybody. I'm not saying don't go with anybody, but what I'm trying to say is if you're going with any player who's playing on the left side of Arsenal,
if Timber was 4.5, I think he would have been an option. But he is 5, and you have Gabriel and Saliba at 5, so no need to risk it. And White is a 0.5 price here, I think. So White is also a no-go.
White is a no-go.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's move to the last team, and the last team is very interesting. It's Tottenham. Yeah. Now, before I get into the Tottenham slide, I just want to shout out to all the viewers who watched Parvez and me do the Rate My Team, where I said, Madison, please don't go. I'm very sorry. And I'm making it very clear. You can record this. I'm very sorry that if I said, please take Madison out of your team. Yeah. I stand corrected, and I'm changing that decision of mine. I think based on the discussion that I'm just going to have, you will understand why I'm saying it. Yeah. Now, if you look at it, Ange Ball is very simple. Ange Ball is 4-2-3-1. That becomes, when they go into attack, becomes 4-4-2. And the only concept of Ange Ball is you score 3 goals, we score 4 goals. Yeah. So we keep scoring, we keep attacking. Yeah. That's Ange Ball for you. Now, if you look at Ange Ball and if you look at the way he played with Celtic and also, of course, the way he played the preseason, it becomes very clear. Let's start with the number one boxes. Now, one of the things that Ange tries to do is usually he starts because he's people take a little bit of time to adjust to his system. He usually starts with his wingers staying wide. That's why you saw, even if you see, look at the heat maps in SofaScore and Fantasy Football Scout during the preseason, you'd see that Son and Kulishevsky were very much on the sideline, very much on the sideline, little bit inside the D box, little bit, very little bit in the D box. Yeah. What you also saw is that when Tottenham went into attack, Madison was playing really as number 8. Now, when he was playing as number 8, the main attacking midfielder, every time the ball was going to the wings, Madison was moving right into the box. So they become 4-4-2. How they become 4-4-2 is because that's when, be it Sar or be it Bissouma, they kind of occupy that midfield spot where Madison occupies. So Madison then moves forward, and that space left behind by Madison is then kind of occupied by Sar or Skip or by Bissouma. That's why you saw Skip scoring a bit of it. So because some people are saying Lo Celso, some people are saying Sar will play, some people are saying it's going to be Skip. That place is a bit of a messy kind of prediction. But what is clear is one of the number 8, number 6 is going to be quite attacking. It is most likely that position, and then Bissouma being the most defensive one might be staying behind. Madison is going to go right into the box, as you can see in number 2. Now, number 3 position is for the wingers. Yeah. Now, for the wingers, for the left back and the right back. Sorry, not for the wingers. Right back and the right back. Pedro Porro actually then inverts and moves up to that zone in 3. Also, Udogi, right? Udogi, I think his name is. Yeah. If I pronounced it correctly, I don't know. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. So Udogi or Regular, whoever is playing, is going to move up into that spot of number 3. Yeah. Now the problem with when they are moving into number 3 position, this is where number 4 position is where Bissouma is going to occupy the space, whereas whoever is playing in the place of Sar or Skip, or sometimes that there is also Højbjerg. I don't know who's going to play really there. He's going to move up, so that makes it 4-4-2. So one of the things that really has become very clear is that beside Harry Kane, if there is one midfielder, because Harry Kane is, whether he's going to go to Bayern, whether he's not going to go to Bayern, whether he's going to stay, whether he's not going to stay, and all that thing is there, that I'm not getting into that. If there is one option from Tottenham that you need to pick right now, or from game week 2 or game week 3, it is Madison. Yeah, followed by Harry Kane if he stays. If not Harry Kane, if Harry Kane goes, then it's Richarlison who will replace him. Then it's Richarlison. For now, Son and Kulishevsky is wait and watch. The reason as to why we are saying one thing I want to just make it clear is that Tottenham are not keeping clean sheets, and Ange really doesn't really believe in a very strong defensive side like Mourinho and others. So Tottenham is probably going to concede a lot of goals, and of course you will get a lot of goals from Porro or from Royal or Udogi, but you are not going to get clean sheets. And the problem is they are not going to score every week. So defense is a no-go. Madison is the best option, followed by Harry Kane if you have the budget. Yeah, and if he stays in thing. Wait and watch is Son and Kulishevsky. Yeah, but if you're really going for a cheap midfield in Spurs, it would be that Metarstar. Yeah, so that's that. So that's Ange Ball for you, by the way. Any question, guys, or anything that you don't understand, or anything that I've missed out?
So, if Kane leaves, the likely striker to come in place of him is Richarlison. Uh,
Yeah,
so, do you think Madison's returns diminishes profoundly if Kane leaves, or do you think his output remains the same?
I think his output will slightly differ because Madison is not just going to be the main creative hub. Yeah? He's definitely the most creative hub in Tottenham. But he's not just the creative hub, he's also going to be the scorer because, as I said, when they are getting into the attack, it becomes 4-4-2. And the 2 in up front is one with the Richarlison or Kane, and the other option is Madison. So he's definitely going to be in the box and going to score goals as well. So yeah, maybe some of the passes might not be converted by Richarlison. That's a different thing. But that doesn't mean Madison's output decreases. Maybe it decreases a little bit because of the finishing, but Madison is still a very good option. Now, another thing that I've heard, and this is something that people need to keep an eye on, is that instead of Skip and Sar, you might see Richarlison playing along with Madison, and they might become then Richarlison and Madison and Kane up front with Bissouma as the only back. Yeah, so it might become, but that becomes extremely risky because then there is no coverage whatsoever. Only Bissouma is the only defender, and Tottenham's defense is quite old, so that's the problem. If they don't see that, if they do, then the best option is instead of because Harry Kane's price is so much, the best option then becomes Madison and Lucas. That combination might give you more points than Kane. Yeah.
My opinion
Five.
regarding the current Tottenham squad is just a gut feeling. Is that Tottenham is a whole different team without Kane. I think he's the talisman and he's the captain as well. So is it the captain? No, Loris was the captain.
He's the
Loris was
captain
the
now.
Lor- he's
Loris
the
was,
captain
but
now.
he's
So
now.
Loris was the captain. So he obviously has an effect on the whole team whatsoever. So if Kane leaves, I think it will have an what understand it will have a moral effect on the whole team as a whole. So that is something I think that needs to be. I don't know if that is. I don't know if that is something that needs to be considered before
Yes,
investing in Madison. So that is some consideration that I have or some hesitation I have before investing in Madison because I think the Tottenham squad has not been the same without Kane. I think Kane plays so well that he brings out the best in other players around him. And without King, I think it will have a moral effect on the whole team. That is what my gut feeling says. Anyway, what side by was saying?
Saif.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when Tottenham signed Madison because they have been lacking that number 10 since the days of Dele Alli. And we all know how explosive Dele Alli was when he burst into the scene. So I was really excited, and he is also in my first draft. That is the current draft that I will show later. He is still there, but he will not be there likely because Harry Kane is as much as good as gone because Fabrizio and Ornstein all has reported that Tottenham accepted the bid from Bayern. So if they accept the bid, I don't see Harry Kane staying. So my issue is it has happened so late in the window. We all have been speculating that Kane will leave and Kane will leave. Now just before the season is starting, he will be leaving. So I think if they accept the bid, he will likely not start the first game, even if the deal is not complete by then, because uh, he's I think he will be gone. So there is no point starting him. And the problem I see is I don't think in any preseason match Richarlison and Madison played together. All the in all the preseason, Kane and Madison has been sharing and has been linking up, and they have grown a partnership pretty quickly. Last match, Kane scored four, and I think Madison was pretty instrumental in all the goals. So my concern is Richarlison and Madison have not got the time to gel together, or they have not have the chance to play together even. I have checked the last 3-4 games. All the games Kane and Madison played, and then they were subbed in, and Richardson and Lo Celso I think played in the position of Madison. So that I think would be an issue because it has happened so late. I think if Kane was sold a month earlier, that would have been much better for Tottenham. Then Richarlison and Madison could have the chance to bring up some sort of partnership, grow some sort of partnership. And I think Richarlison will surprise us a bit this season because he was such a flop. But he is still a very good player. Has he shown in the World Cup? His chemistry and combination with Neymar was really good, and I think he can work out something like similar with Madison. But he needs the time. So my only concern is he has not got the time, and they have not been able to play together in the preseason. So I think for me, all the Tottenham players are wait and see for now, just because of the Kane sell that is going to happen. And also, if they sort out the defensive issue and they starts to keep some clean sheet, I think Udogi will be the pick of the 4.5 defenders, because as we have been saying, that is the Ange ball. The fullbacks get into the box, they literally become second strikers, and Udogi has already scored goals in the preseason. I think if they keep clean sheet on top of that, then Udogi will be a really explosive option into the season.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I just wanted to make it clear. Honestly speaking, whether Harry Kane leaves or whether Harry Kane doesn't leave, I think Madison is the best option still. I mean, it might take some time for Richarlison to gel, and I agree with you, Saif, on that point. But I still feel Madison has the best creative option, and he has the best attacking option. So he's going to be in the box. So he's not going to only pass. So yeah, it's not going to be just the assist potential. It's also going to be the goal scoring potential. And I think what we are underestimating right now is that Madison has a very good goal scoring record, and he is capable of. He's a good finisher, and when he's in form, he's on form. I mean, I'm a big sufferer of it. Yeah, so I know what I'm trying to say is without Kane,
Another
yes.
thing we should.
One thing you need to consider is if Nadim Bhai does take Madison, you should not take Madison. One of the reasons that
Okay.
Leicester got relegated was because Nadim Bhai took Madison. So
Thank,
Nadim Bhai should
thanks.
do an
Thank.
announcement whether he took Madison or not. So that is
Yeah, yeah.
something that needs to be
You'll
considered.
see in my team
Yeah,
when I put my team, you can see it. Yeah. All right. So I
banter
think let's
aside,
move from.
I think
I think
we
it's
should
become
also
very
consider
clear.
Madison's fitness concerns.
Yeah, but I think right now he's fit. He's fully fit, and I think he's done well so far, and I think he remains fit. So there's no
It will
concern to
be
that.
pretty
So yeah,
much Madison's. Yeah,
honestly speaking, I think we are underestimating Madison as number 8 in this new Tottenham under Ange. Yeah, I think you all are underestimating. I
I
think
have him in my
Madison has no.
draft. So how am I
Yeah, but
underestimating him? But the
Yeah,
problem is the sale of Kane and the timing of it.
Tottenham is gonna get relegated this season.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is you're still underestimating. It's not just Kane. I mean, I'm not saying Kane is not really a factor, but what I'm trying to say is you're just looking at it from an assist potential or Madison's creative potential rather than from his goal scoring potential.
No,
Or what I'm
I'm
really
putting
trying to say
in
is
terms of, yeah. Whenever you take Madison, that is when he does not perform. So
okay,
that is what
all
I'm
right,
saying. That is
all
what
right,
I'm saying.
okay,
So you are
okay.
taking
So
Madison because you're building up Madison so much. You already have him in your team. So obviously Spurs is gonna get relegated this year.
okay, whatever it is, what
Madison will get
I just
injured in
said
the
what I
first game.
saw, and I said what I saw, and I said what I understood, and I said what I read, and I said what I saw, to be honest. And if you still don't want to take it for whatever the reason may be my guest, Ashfaq. Be my guest, but don't go around in game week 3 and 4 saying like Nadim Bhai was right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move to the next topic, and I think this covers up our first hot topic, and I think we need to move a little bit fast because there's lots of comments and still there's a
The
lot of
first
comments.
part. This is only
Yeah.
the first part. Nadim Bhai's part
Yeah.
went for 1 hour. I
Less
did
than
not
an
speak,
hour.
and Nadim Bhai went on for 1 hour.
You kind of went into a lot of comments. Anyway, moving on to the top selection, goalkeepers, and I'll ask Parvez, who's been quiet for a very while because he doesn't understand tactics so much and he doesn't talk tactics so much. So yeah, I'll ask Parvez to do that. Parvez, over to you.
যাই হোক, ধন্যবাদ নাদিম। 1 ঘন্টা পরে আসলে ফ্লোর পাইলাম।
আমি তো বলছিলাম ঘুমায় গেছিল, এক
হ্যাঁ,
ঘন্টা
আমি তো
ঘুমায় নিচ্ছে।
হ্যাঁ বলতে যাচ্ছে নাদিম ভাই আসলে কথা বললে তো
So
কাউকে
আমরা
কথা বলতে দেন না। এটা অনেক অনেক পুরাতন সমস্যা আর কি।
so back to the FPL. So back to the FPL এখন এই মুহূর্তে আসলে আমরা প্রথমেই ডিসকাস করব হলো টপ সিলেকশন আমাদের এই মুহূর্তে যারা গোলকিপার আছে। সো আমরা যে স্লাইডটা আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি সেই স্লাইডের মধ্যে যদি আমরা টপ যে অপশনগুলো আছে তাহলে আমি সেই টপ অপশনগুলো কি নিয়ে কথা বলি, কারণ স্লাইডের মধ্যে অনেক অপশন আছে। সো জনস্টনসের যদি আমি একটা জিনিস দেখছি, এক্সজি প্রিভেন্টেড গুলো আপনারা যদি লক্ষ্য করেন তাহলে এক্সজি প্রিভেন্টেড পার 90, তার এক্সপেক্টেড যে জিনিসটা ছিল 1.11 এন্ড বাকি যে জিনিসটা ছিল গোল কনসিড, অর্থাৎ তার এক্সপেক্ট যেটা করতেছিল সে অলমোস্ট সেইটাই কনসিড করছে, অর্থাৎ তার এক্সজি প্রিভেন্টেড কিন্তু +0.0 এবং তার এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্টটাও কিন্তু খুবই ভালো। লাস্ট নেক্সট 6 গেম উইকে হলো তার 22, which is very good. জনস্টন একটা ভালো অপশন এখানে আমার কাছে মনে হয়। ইভেন ফ্লেকের একটা ভেরি গুড অপশন, যে টপে আছে 4.5 মিলিয়ন, এখন পর্যন্ত তার ওনারশিপ অনেক কম। তার এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট কিন্তু 1 থেকে 6 গেমিং পর্যন্ত হলে আমরা যেটা দেখতেছি হলো 20, সো হুইচ ইজ ভেরি গুড আমার কাছে মনে হয়। আমি আসলে এর পরে যদি কোনো অপশনকে বলি তাহলে ওনানা যদি এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্টটা আমরা দেখি, এবং তার ওনারশিপও এখন কিন্তু 25.6%। সো সবচেয়ে টপে যদি থাকে এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্টের দিক থেকে নেক্সট 6 গেমিংকে ইজ ওনানা, 23.33% তার এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট এই 6 গেমিংকে। এছাড়া বাকি যে গুলো আছে তার মধ্যে আমি নজর কাড়ার মতন একজনকার পারফরমেন্সে দেখতে পাচ্ছি, সেটা হলো লেনো, ফুলহ্যামের। তার এক্সপেক্টেড যে অন টার্গেট কনসিড যেটা ছিল, সেটা এক্সপেক্ট করা হচ্ছিল যে 1.68 সে গোল কনসিড করবে, বাট সে কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি কনসিড করছিল 1.42, অর্থাৎ তার এক্সিট প্রিমিটেড কিন্তু +26, হুইচ ইজ ভেরি গুড। এবং তার এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট রিটার্ন যেটা আসছে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি 1 থেকে 6 গেমের মধ্যে 21.29, which is very good. So ডিফারেন্সিয়াল হিসেবে লেনো কুড বি এ ভেরি গুড অপশন ফুলহ্যামের। এছাড়া আমি আসলে তেমন কোনো গুলকির কথা বলবো না। যদি 4 মিলিয়নের গুলকির কথা আসে তাহলে এরিওলা এবং টার্নারের কথা বলবো, যেখানে আমরা জানি যে টার্নার অলরেডি ফরেস্টে চলে গেছে, এবং তার এই দুজনের এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্টটা ডেফিনেটলি কম দেখাচ্ছে, বিকজ অফ এরা যখন ট্রান্সফার হয়ে চলে গেছে তার আগের স্লাইড এটা ছিল, এবং এই মুহূর্তে আসলে টার্নার ফরেস্টের, দ্যাটস ওয়াই তার এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট যেটা গেমিং 1 থেকে 6 পর্যন্ত সেটা খুবই লো দেখাচ্ছে। বাট আই থিঙ্ক ফরেস্টের সে স্টার্টিং গোলকিপার, এবং এই ক্ষেত্রে এখন হয়তো বা যদি প্রথম ম্যাচটা খেলার পরে হয়তো সেকেন্ড গেমিং থেকে দেখা যাবে যে টার্নারের এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্টটা এই দিক থেকে বেড়ে যাবে। সো ওভারঅল আমি যদি এখান থেকে গোলকিপারের কথা বলি তাহলে সেটা ফ্লেকেন, জনস্টন, অ্যান্ড বেঞ্চ অপশন হিসেবে আমি প্রেফার করবো টার্নারকে।
থ্যাংকস পারভেজ। আমার এখানে জাস্ট একটা পয়েন্ট কোয়েশ্চেন আছে, যে উনানা বিং 5 million and 25.6% ownership, guys, but his predicted points is 23.33, whereas Johnston, who has 4.5, or even Steele, who has 4.5, 6.5 ownership and 1.7 ownership, has 22.29 and 22.32. Now, do you think, this is a question more to you and Saif and Ashfaq rather than to Parvez, do you think this 0.5 million should be invested instead of going into Onana, or do you think Onana is still that 1 point difference is kind of worth it for that extra 0.5? What do you think?
সো কোশ্চেনটা যেহেতু আমার কাছেই আসছে,
No, I'm asking them, Parvez.
ওকে।
I don't think the extra 0.1 is worth it. So I will always be advocate for the 4.5 goalkeepers, because at the end of the day, I think their points per price is much higher. So I think a rotating 4.5 combo is kind of works, but for me it should be 4.5 and then a 4 million as a backup. Play the 4.5 in all the games and only play the 4 in the matches they have a pretty good chance of having a clean sheet. So I will be picking one of Johnston and Pickford, I think, to begin the season with. Then I think I will target the fixtures, and I don't think I will change the goalkeeper that much, but I don't think paying 5 million is worth it for a goalkeeper.
Saif, sorry, Ashfaq, what do you think? Worth it? 0.5 for that 1 point?
The thing with goalkeepers is that goalkeeper is one position that, when you make your FPL team and you do transfers, goalkeeper is one position you probably do not change very often. So as a result, between Johnston and Onana, you should probably look into your fixture run and pick out who has the better fixtures, and move, look into your strategy, what kind of strategy you are going to. For example, some of the FPL players go on to do a early wild card. So when you are doing an early wild card, if you're doing an early wild card, probably you can just pick one and do the early wild card and change your goalkeeper whatsoever. But if you are like me, and I usually play my wild card around after the first international break, I think. So that is around game week 7 or 8 usually, or 9, or depends. So for me, I would look into the first first set of fixtures, and pick the goalkeeper who has the best fixtures out of both of them. The thing with Johnston and Onana, I think they both have good defenses. Crystal Palace under Hodgson is known for their defense. Guaita is virtually out of the door
Disenchanted.
with.
He is
Sorry.
disenchanted. He is
Right,
disenchanted.
right,
That's the word.
right, right, right. The word is disenchanted. So Guaita is virtually out of the door. So Johnston is the first choice pick. He's an excellent goalkeeper, and Onana is very hyped. He's very good with his footwork, etc. He's an excellent goalkeeper as well. So for FPL managers who are planning for the long run, I think should plan accordingly, because goalkeeper is one position I think that we do not tend to transfer out very often. The other positions we do, midfield, defense, or forwards even, but goalkeeper not so much. So I think you should look at your strategy and make a choice between them. I don't think the difference would be great altogether between the point five.
Okay. So that
You
point
haven't
five should be
answered
in
the
the.
question.
Personally, I think I
Personally,
would rather go with a
in
4.5 goalkeeper. I have Flecken in my team currently. It might move on to Johnston. I'm not really confident of Daesh's defense at the moment. Not yet. Maybe somewhere in the middle of the season, if I find enough proof that the defense has improved, maybe. But right now, it's between maybe Flecken and Johnston.
I'm
right.
really
Ashfaq.
surprised by the ownership of Johnston. 1.7 is really low.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah. I think let it be. Let it be. We are going for differentials anyway. It's okay, Saif. It's okay.
Why?
Somebody will say নাদিম ভাই তো ভালোবাসা দিয়ে জনস্টনকে কত ভালোবাসছে জীবনে anyway let's not get into that romance of my romance with Johnston, but anyway just wanted to make that point very clear, and I think yeah, so let's go. Ashfaq, just coming reminding you one thing: throughout this season, if you're not going to answer a question directly, I'm going to remind you to answer the question straight away in the pod itself. Yeah, just like what Saif did. Yeah,
I was trying to be a bit
it's a deal.
diplomatic.
No, no, don't. People don't want diplomacy here. People want straight or bhai, hobe ki hobe na bhai, nimu ki nimu na. That's what people want. Yeah, no diplomacy. Yeah, let's not do diplomacy here. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next one. Best defenders. Saif, over to you.
The ownership of Estupinan is really kind of mind blowing. 52% ownership for a defender from Brighton. But I think it's all worth it because he finished the season pretty strongly, and he is the number one defender under De Zerbi, and he has been playing through their highly congested period. He was playing a lot, and I think he will start the season strongly. And Brighton's first three fixtures are, I think, some of the best fixtures any club could have to start the season with. So Estupinan should be the first choice in your FPL draft, and as you can see from the ownership, I think lots of people agree with that. And if you see the point potential, expected points from game week 1 to 6, I think it's around 23, 22 and a half. So for the first three, I think he can touch 20 points in the first 3 game weeks alone. So after that, you can switch because their fixtures get a bit tougher. Then you can switch to a Newcastle defender because their starting fixtures are a bit tough, and then it gets better after game week 4 or 5, I think. And Trippier's ownership is a bit high, but I am not that big on Trippier because Trippier's returns died down a lot in the second half, and also they will have in the beginning they will not have the UCL, but they will have UCL to contend with. So at 6.5, I will not. I start with Trippier for sure, but I don't think I will be considering Trippier unless he shows some insane forms or not, because FPL has priced a starting defender from Newcastle at 4.5. That's Botman. So when their fixtures turns and fixtures get that easier, I think Botman should be the pick from Newcastle defense. And if you want to develop, then Trippier can become an option. Then I think we have the 5.5 options at Chilwell, Shaw, and Stones. All have pretty good point potential. Chilwell has been taking lots of set pieces for Chelsea in the preseason, and he has been playing really advanced. So I think he can be a very good option. And also Stones have been playing inverted like Trent in the later part of the season. But now that Gavardiol is here, and once he's integrated, I think Stones might get rotated a bit more. So there's the rotation risk. And then Shaw, if you are not going with Onana, Shaw can be a very good option because Man United have very good fixtures to start the season with, and Shaw will likely play at the left back, going back to his natural position, and then he can be a attacking outlet for Man United too. So all three are pretty good options. But for me, as I said earlier, after Estupinan, the first two names, first defenders in your team should be Estupinan and then Gabriel. Gabriel is playing for the second or third best defensive side in the league at Arsenal, and they kept the most clean sheets. No, Man United kept the most clean sheets last season, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So their attacking opening fixtures are really good, and I think he is a season keeper. So Gabriel at 5.0 is a no-brainer for me. And then we have the 4.5 options in Botman, Cash, Rico, Henry. If you have a 4.5 slot in your team, I would go for Henry out of these three because Botman has some tough fixtures early on. And then Cash is an interesting one because we should have discussed Aston Villa's tactics a bit in the changing tactics section, because what Emery has been doing is he is now playing with three center backs and then three central defense and then one wing back. So in the preseason, in one match, it has been Cash in the wing back position, and then in the other match, it has been Dean for now, and Konsa has been playing on the right side at center back. So we don't know which one will be the attacking one, and if Cash nails down his spot, I think he will become a much better pick. But for now, we can't say for sure. I think it will depend on the opposition's strengths and opposition players. So Cash, I think, has rotation concerns. So if you are going for someone from Aston Villa defense, Mings is the better option because we all thought Mings will lose his position to Pau Torres, but that hasn't happened. He has been playing, and then one of Pau Torres or Konsa is there alongside him, and then the other fullbacks. And Rico Henry, I think Brentford has some pretty good attacking opening fixtures, and Rico Henry is one of the defenders, I think, who has been overlooked by the FPL managers this season. He is another one who is currently in my draft, and I think if he gets 100% fit, he is a bit of flagged now because he has a bit of an injury, I think, but I think he will be okay. I think he will stay in my team if I have a 4.5 position in my team because he plays for a settled team, except for Tony, but I don't think that will hamper them much because without Tony, they have played really well in the last season. Whenever Tony has not been playing in the 5-4 fixtures, 4-5 fixtures he missed. So I think that will not hamper them that much. So it is a settled side, except for Raya, but he is really a good attacking outlet for them. So for me, he is the pick of the 4.5 defenders. And as we said, Trent, he has been selected by 22% because I think lots of people have lots of cash left because they are not going with Salah. So they are picking Trent just because they have the fund. But I don't think he is an option to begin with unless Liverpool's strategies or something changes drastically. He has not been taking that many set pieces, and he has not had a single assist. I think he has had a single assist in the entire preseason. So, and his goal threat has also diminished drastically. So, for me, Trent is a no-go, and Liverpool defense altogether is a no-go for me because they have been leaking goals and they don't have a defensive midfielder. So that's it for me from the defender sections.
Thanks, Saif. I just want to ask Parvez one question here. Parvez, Trent Alexander-Arnold predicted 8 million, 22.2% ownership, predicted score 26.35, Trippier 6.5, 34%, 25.2. কম্প্যারিজন যদি আমরা করি এখানে 5.5 মিডফিল্ডার অথবা 4.5 ডিফেন্ডার সরি, তাহলে এখানে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে মাত্র 1 পয়েন্টের ডিফারেন্স, বাট 2 মিলিয়ন বা 3 মিলিয়নের প্রাইস ডিফারেন্স। এই 3 মিলিয়ন প্রাইস দিয়ে কি তাহলে আমরা ট্রেন্ট আলেকজান্ডার-আর্নল্ড বা ট্রিপিয়ারকে প্রেফার করবো, নাকি অ্যাজ সাইফ সেড যে গো ফর দ্য চিপার ওয়ান্স?
আমি সাইফের সাথে মোটামুটি একমত যে আসলে এখানে ট্রেন্ট এই মুহূর্তে ড্রামাটিক্যালি যদি কোনো রকম চেঞ্জ না আসে লিভারপুলে, আসলে এই জায়গাটাতে আসলে ট্রেন্টকে নেওয়াটা স্টার্ট করাটা আসলে কতটা যুক্তিযুক্ত হবে, কারণ ট্রেন্টের প্রাইস পয়েন্টটা হলো 8 মিলিয়ন, এবং এখানে যদি আমি 4.5 মিলিয়নের আরেকজন ডিফেন্ডারকে চিন্তা করি, তাহলে 4.5 and 8 মিলিয়ন মিলে 12.5 মিলিয়ন। সেক্ষেত্রে যদি আমি চিপার অপশন ওদের চাইতে ট্রিপার এবং আর্নল্ডের যদি চিপার অপশন যদি আমি দেখি, এখানে স্টোনস অ্যান্ড চিলওয়েল এদের প্রাইস পয়েন্ট কিন্তু 5.5, অর্থাৎ দুইজনকে যদি প্রাইস পয়েন্ট আমি অ্যাড করি, তাহলে এই প্রাইস পয়েন্টটা দাঁড়াবে হলো 11 মিলিয়ন, অর্থাৎ 1.5 মিলিয়ন কিন্তু আমি ট্রেন্ট প্লাস 4.5 মিলিয়ন একজন ডিফেন্ডারের কাছ থেকে কম পাচ্ছি। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি প্রিফার করবো যে এই জায়গাটাতে ট্রেন্ট এবং 4.5 এর ডিফেন্ডারকে না নিয়ে স্টোনস অ্যান্ড চিলওয়েলের মতন দুইজন প্লেয়ারের উপর যদি আমি ইনভেস্ট করি, এবং সেখানে 1.5 মিলিয়ন আমি কিন্তু শর্ট পাচ্ছি, এবং সেই জায়গাটাতে আমি 1.5 মিলিয়ন মিডফিল্ডারে লাগাই, কিন্তু একজন 5 মিলিয়নের মিডফিল্ডারকে আমি 6.5 মিলিয়ন একজন মিডফিল্ডারকে পেতে পারি। সো আমি ডেফিনেটলি প্রিফার করবো স্টোনস অ্যান্ড চিলওয়েল রাদার দেন আর্নল্ড অ্যান্ড 4.5 ডিফেন্ডার।
Ashfaq, anything to add? Or should we move to the next slide and I'll hand it over to you?
No, I think pretty much everything is covered here.
Okay.
It was a pretty
Then
comprehensive.
let's go to the next slide, which is over to you, Ashfaq. It's the midfield section.
Right. I'll try to go as fast as I can because Saif bhai, as usual, on a time niye nahi sir ki. So first of all,
timer ধরেন timer.
So what we can see is there are 10 midfielders that is discussed. I'll not discuss all of them. I'll weed out the midfielders which I'm not considering right now. First,
avoid the 6.5 ones because we have a section for 6.5.
Right. So we're not going to discuss the budget midfielder section here. We are just going to discuss the overall midfield picks here. We have a different section of 6.5 that we're going to cover later. So first midfielder which I'm not considering is Foden. Because Mahrez is not there, we had an initial guess that maybe Foden would come into that place at the right wing, but what we have seen that Bernardo Silva is taking that place, and based on the performance of the combination to Foden, I don't think he's in the best of forms as well. So there's a good chance he won't be in the starting lineup in the beginning of the season. So Foden, although City has one of the best opening fixtures in the Premier League, and Foden is nicely priced at 7.5. Foden would be a no go for me. The next midfielder that I'm not considering is Eze, although he's very well priced at 6.5. His initial fixtures are tricky, and if you consider Eze as a long term buy for the first, let's say, 8 or 9 game weeks, he has some pretty tricky fixtures up in around him. So Hodgson's side is not the most attacking side. When they play, they are not the most attacking side. But it will
You forgot the new Hodgson. It's Hodgson 2.0.
Hodgson 2.0, right?
You forgot about the last season. End of the last season, you forgot about.
Right. So let's say if Eze takes over from Zaha's helm and becomes the talisman of Palace, but right now he has some pretty tricky fixtures up in his sleeve. So Eze is another midfielder I will not consider right now. Then I'll move into the more popular picks. Saka, for obvious reasons, like Nadim bhai pointed out regarding their formation changes, Saka is more or less nailed. Another thing is that City, Arsenal, and Brighton has the best opening fixtures in the Premier League right now. Opening 5 or 6 fixtures really plays well for them. So investing in Arsenal midfield would be a wise decision for most managers. So the decision remains to be seen whether you would invest in only one midfielder or two midfielder. If you're investing in the second midfielder, I think Martinelli is the way to go. There's some concern for managers whether he will be starting with Trossard, playing also well, and with Jesus injured, whether Havertz will come into the center forward instead of Martinelli, and whether Trossard will play on the left, etc. But I think Martinelli is still Arteta's one of Arteta's most favorite players. I think he will start all of the matches he's available in. He might have his minutes managed. That is a bit of a concern because Arsenal has the Champions League this season, and Arteta, I think, will want to have Martinelli want to have Martinelli in his best fitness. So that is a small concern based on his minutes. But if you're looking for the second Arsenal midfield, I think Martinelli is one of the best out there. Then I'm going to discuss the United assets. Fernandez, I think, with Fernandez 8.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Strong
8.5.
here.
I think there's a mistake here. 10.5 is a
So
mistake.
anyway,
Yeah,
so Fernandez is 8.5. Which I think is a bargain for most managers this season. I think in most of our initial drafts, Fernandez was a ready pick here. So Fernandez, with his output and his uh, goal goal contribution and assist contribution, I think is one of the best bargains you can have out there. He's also in penalties and set pieces, so that's a no-brainer here. As we all know that Hoyland is out for the first few weeks, so I think Rashford will again play on to the center forward position, and he will pick up from his form from his end of the last season where he was very very effective. So Rashford and Fernandez, if you can afford both of them, and if you want to take both of them, I think you can't go much wrong. But if you want to take one of them, the jury is out there whether you want to pick uh, Fernandez or Rashford. But based on the last season's form and maybe a bit of preseason form, I think Rashford, between them, I would rather prefer Rashford because I think he's a better goal scorer of the two. Um, Salah, I don't need to discuss because Nadim Bhai already had a detailed discussion on the Salah. We had a detailed discussion on regarding Salah's placement, etc. Saib Bhai put his arguments. Nadim Bhai also put his arguments there. But personally, I would still start Salah. He has a relatively well. It's low this season. It's 23.8. But as you can see from the expected points of game week 1 to 6, it's way higher than any other midfielders out there. It's 33.69, and the other peer midfielders does not cross the 30 mark. So that goes to show how much reliance on Salah there is for the Liverpool side. Finally, there is Mitoma and Madison. So Nadim Bhai put a convincing argument on Madison. I'm not so convinced because I think losing Kane will have an overall moral effect on Spurs as a whole, and I think it will diminish his output a bit. But Nadim Bhai has his points, so yeah, I think I will watch the first 1 or 2 game weeks before investing in Madison. I will have maybe an open slot for him, so I can bring him in easily if needed. If he is effective, I think he can be the new talisman of Spurs. But that again, with Kane gone, that remains to be seen. And finally, Mbuemo and Mitoma. Mbuemo with Tony gone, I think will be the new talisman of Brentford. He's also likely to be in penalties, but he's slightly a bit of a fitness concern in the first game week. Although um, the Brentford manager has said that he's likely to be fit, but we'll know in the press conference tomorrow. And of course, Mitoma, I think is one of the best 6.5 midfielders out there because Brighton is one of the most attacking sides in the Premier League right now. And Mitoma with his 6.5 and point output and Brighton's fixtures, I think is one of the best 6.5 assets you can get. So that's it for me. Was I fast enough?
Yeah.
Thank you for not
Okay.
discussing the 6.5 options.
Yeah, that's you would have been faster had you not discussed the 6.5, which you promised you won't, but then you ended up doing it anyway. Yeah, it's okay, Ashfaq. It's okay. You just can't stop, right? একটু ঘন তো করতেই হবে, right? That's why we are called ঘন anyway. So it's okay. It's okay. Just one thing. I have a disagreement with you, Ashfaq, when it comes to Manchester United attack line. By the way, yeah. Honestly, I feel Manchester United is going to start with Rashford on the left, Antonio on the right, and Sancho as the false nine. due to Haaland's
Like
Højlund's injury.
you're talking about the formation of the preseason.
Yeah, not formation of the preseason, but based on what I saw and what I noticed and what I read. That's what I'm saying. But that's the only disagreement. But it's not like major disagreement anyway. But yeah, if Sancho does, I mean, he looked very sharp in the preseason, and I think if he starts to play the false nine, what I'm trying to really say to the audience, if he really starts to play the false nine before Højlund comes in, I think Sancho is definitely going to be an option then
Yeah,
very
so
soon.
Rashford is effective on the left as well because I think left is Rashford's favorite position anyway. Being on the left, taking on defenders, coming in is his favorite position anyway. So that is something that
No,
I think he prefers.
no disagreement with Rashford. Rashford being in the left or being in the center doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with Rashford anyway. What I'm trying to say is he might not play center. Sancho might play a false nine, and if Sancho does play a false nine and does well over there, then Sancho becomes an option. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right,
That's it.
right,
That's
right,
the only thing I'm trying to make it. All right,
right.
let's move to the next topic. The forward section. Saif, over to you for this one.
Yeah, thanks Ashfaq bhai for being so brief, and thanks for not discussing the 6.5 midfielders again. So I don't think we need to
6.5.
discuss about Haaland.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ashfaq,
I don't think we need to discuss about Haaland. If you are not going without Haaland, then you should buy a much bigger sofa than the one you have. So let's go for the second highest owned forward. That's Watkins. We all know how
just
Watkins from
just
turned
an
up.
interruption.
Yeah,
Sorry, Saif.
yeah,
Sorry, interrupting. I don't think so. We need a sofa. I think what people should do if you're not going with Highland is buy a graveyard in Ajimpur, Goristan. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. If you're not going with Highland, yeah, that's it. Yeah, please continue, Saif.
yeah. There's been a uh, growing idea that Haaland is not on form. He was really out of form in the Community Shield. He does not fit into the Man City strategy. So a growing number of people are saying this. So I would just say don't go without Haaland. It's not worth the risk. Let's at least see when the season begins and just look at the expected points section. It's more than double the majority of the other players, right? So just keep him and play around with the other 14 options you have. So I will start with Watkins. I think we have another section regarding the second best forward. So I think we should bring. It should be discussed as a whole for me. I think
Yeah,
so.
I think go ahead.
Yeah,
Combine
yeah,
both, and then discuss that. Yeah,
yeah.
then we can
I think
the topic.
it will automatically become a discussion about the second best option because I don't think many teams will go with three forward options because the midfielder options are so nice this time. There are lots of options at the midfield. We are spoiled for choice. So I would not waste and the eighth attacking slot on a forward. So I think most of us will be choosing a bench fodder. So it's really about picking the second best forward. So Watkins is currently the most popular one, and for good reason because under Emery he has been quite a bit of revelation, and Aston Villa has, I think, easy-ish fixtures to begin the season with, and but Watkins has shown that he is fixture-proof. He can score against anyone. And Musa Diaby, we missed out on the 6.5 midfielder. That's Musa Diaby. He will play alongside Watkins, and I think he, in general, will make Aston Villa's attack that much better because he is a really good player. He has integrated really quickly in the team, so he will be a revelation, I think. So if we don't want to waste 8 million on your second forward, you can have a slice of the Aston Villa attack by picking Diaby. So Watkins' expected points is 24. That's a bit less than Kane and Jackson. Kane is, I think, a non-option now because I think he will be gone. So Jackson is an interesting option, but Nkunku injury is, I think, will weaken Chelsea's attack and Chelsea team as a whole. because from what we have seen or what we have read about the preseason and Chelsea's formation, Nkunku was the creative hub, or Nkunku was the focal point of the team. So him being out for 2-3 months might weaken their attack, but this might bring out another differential and another 4.5 option. Chukwuemeka might play in the number 10, so he can be an option as the 4.5 midfielder. So that's space to watch out. So Jackson, I think even without Nkunku, Jackson will be their starting forward. So from game week 2, Chelsea's fixtures are so great. Jackson punt can be a very good one, and so at 7, it's much 1 million cheaper than Watkins, so he can be the second option behind Haaland. And from this season, he has shown great form. He can lead the line and he can get in behind the defense. So if he can continue his preseason form, he can become a very good option. Isaac has been a bit overlooked in the Twitter section, but he has been selected by 15% of the overall FPL players. Newcastle fixtures are not that great to begin with, so I will stay away from any of their assets for now, except for bench foders like Anderson. So Darwin, he showed a bit of a promise, but in the last 2 games he did not start, in which I think is Liverpool's best 11. So there's a bit of rotation concern, as I discussed earlier. So I would not start with Darwin at 7.5. It's not worth the risk. Let's just wait and see if he can nail down the starting striker position. Joao Pedro is the talk of the town in Twitter right now because he took a penalty when Ross was in the field. So everyone is saying that he will take the penalty, but Brighton has so many attacking options that it's really tough to pick one. Even Mitoma, I think, is not a set and forget for now because they can play with any of the plethora of attacking options they have, and they can be as effective as an attacking unit. Because that's how De Zerbi plays. It does not depend on the personnel; it depends on the system. So,
Sorry, that was my mistake.
Oh, no issue. And Wilson, as I said, Newcastle fixtures are tough, so better to avoid them for now. And Joao Pedro, I think, at 5.5 is worth the risk. So if you want to spend a bit heavily on your midfield, then I think at 5.5, Joao Pedro can become your second option. But be sure to keep a rotating option if he gets rotated in the Brighton system. So keep a playing option handy in your bench so that you can rotate with Pedro. Wissa is another one. I think it's a bit overlooked because of the Mbeumo love. But Wissa, from what we have seen in the last season, when Tony missed out, Wissa scored big. In almost all the matches, I think he scored double digits when Tony was not there. So he can also be a very good option. So if you cannot afford Mbeumo, you can get Wissa in, and I think you will not be the point difference will not be that much. So Wissa can be a pretty interesting differential to begin the start with if you are not certain on Joao Pedro. So for me, the best forward option is Watkins still, and then Jackson, then Pedro and Wissa. And Darwin is a wait and see for now. Same with the Newcastle strikers.
Right. Sai, Ashfaq, who's your second option? Who do you think second option should be? Just quickly, and then we can finish
if
up
I'm
the
going
next.
for a 3-5-2, I think Joao Pedro would be the best option. If I'm going for a 3-5-2, if I'm going for a 3-4-3, I think then based on the current options, I like the Jackson pick. He's a differential. He has a great preseason. I think Pochettino brings out the best in him. Otherwise, I think Watkins is the more safer option. That is, if I'm going for a 3-4-3.
Right. Thanks. Parvez, best second option.
তো আমি ফরমেশন নিয়ে কথা বলবো না। আমার যদি সেকেন্ড অপশন এখান থেকে চুজ করতে বলা হয় তাহলে আমি যে প্লেয়ারটার কথা বলবো সেটা হলো ওয়াটকিন্স। বিকজ অফ প্রথম ফিকচারটা বাদ দিলে গেমিং 8 পর্যন্ত ওয়াটকিন্সের একটা ভালো রিদমের রান দেবে, এবং সেইখান থেকে আমি ওয়াটকিন্সের প্রাইস পয়েন্ট থেকে যে কোনো প্লেয়ারে চলে যেতে পারবো। এটা একটা কারণ। এবং আরেকটা অপশনে আমি কমপ্লিটলি এগ্রি করব জ্যাকসনের সাথে, জ্যাকসনকে, যেটা আশফাক অলরেডি বলছে, এবং সাইফু জ্যাকসনের কথা বলছে। আই উইল জ্যাকসন, কারণ প্রথম ফিকচারটা যদি বাদ দেই, তাহলে আমরা যে ফিকচারটা দেখবো চেলসির হলো সেকেন্ড গেম থেকে ওয়েস্ট হ্যাম, অ্যান্ড দেন লোটনের সাথে হোম, অ্যান্ড তারপরে ফরেস্টের সাথে হোম, অ্যান্ড দেন তারপরে ম্যাচটা হলো বর্নমথের সাথে হবে। সো অবভিয়াসলি জ্যাকসন কুড বি মাই সেকেন্ড অপশন।
Right. My second option would definitely be Jackson and none other than Jackson. I'm not upgrading it because there's so many options in midfield, and I don't want to invest so much in the striker because I already invested 14 million in Haaland. So that's as simple as that. If I am not going with Jackson, then I would go with Visa. I would downgrade and I would take that money out, that one extra 1 million, and again invest it in the midfield because in the midfield there's so many options still. So yeah, for me it's Jackson or Visa, not anybody else. Yeah, right. All right.
Why no Joao Pedro?
I'm not really going there. I think he's a very good option at 5.5, but I'm not really going down there because I mean, why would I go with 5.5 million and then have this headache of whether he's going to play, whether he's playing in the right place, or whether he's
He's
going to
their
be
record
benched?
signing. Why would not he play?
But I don't know because there's Kudus, there is Mitoma, there is as Saif mentioned already, there's so many options in Brighton, and
My understanding
I
is
don't
that because McAllister is not there, maybe he will come into the number 10 position, and maybe the striker will be, one of Ferguson or Welbeck, with Ferguson being the favorite, I think.
see there is lots of maybes which I don't know, and Deserby is very good at creating these
Fair enough.
maybes. So
Fair enough.
I don't want to really go over there and invest it. I would rather invest that amount in a sure shot striker or take that money out and invest it in the midfield. That's a simple investment. Why I would go in something that is a bit uncertain? Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, right. All right. Let's go to the next section. And Saif, Ashfaq, you have already covered this, but quickly run through this, please, and then we can go into our
Yeah,
draft
so
and then
I'll
the question.
again try to be as quick as possible because সাইফ ভাই এবং in extension নাদিম ভাই অনেক টাইম নিয়ে নিছে. So I'm gonna discuss the 6.5 midfield options now because I think that is one of the dilemmas many managers are facing currently. First, I'm gonna talk about the options that I'm not gonna consider. Almiron, first of all, is one of the options that I'm not gonna consider because based on the second half of last season, he has not like he hit the form as he did pre World Cup, and post World Cup his form really subsided. So Almiron, because he has again stiff competition now, because on the wings there is Jacob Murphy. When both Isaac and Wilson plays, one of them I think moves onto the wing as well. So I think he has some good competitions there. I think Harvey Barnes has come in for Newcastle, so that is another concern for him. So Almiron is a no-go for me. Harvey Barnes, whenever when he was in Leicester, I did not consider him as well because Harvey Barnes is a player who, for me, is a bit one-dimensional. He takes a lot of shots, misses a lot of shots, but because he takes a lot of shots, he ends up getting a goal or two. But Harvey Barnes in this Newcastle side, I think will be a rotational player. That is what my understanding is, and it remains to be seen what kind of effect he has on the Newcastle team. And again, like I think we have already discussed, Newcastle does not have the best opening fixtures. So with Newcastle, Harvey Barnes and Almiron is a no-go for me. Eze is can be a good option if you do not have any other places to go to. But regarding Eze, like I said, if you're looking at the long run, Eze has a bit of tricky fixtures as well, especially in the first 7 or 8 game weeks, especially after game week 6. So Eze remains to be seen whether with Zaha's departure, Eze takes his role and becomes the new mantle of the Crystal Palace team. Side by side, this is Hodgson or Dadu 2.0. So this might be a different Palace side to the ones we have seen before, which is defensively solid and attackingly a bit diminished, but remains to be seen. But Eze, for me, is a bit of a wait and see at the moment. The best options that I want to consider are between Mbuemo and Mitoma. I think Mitoma should be the first choice because this Brighton side is one of the most attacking side in the Premier League. Mitoma last season was terrific in his FPL returns. 6.5 is a great option, and the good thing about Brighton is that they have one of the best opening fixtures in the Premier League. So beat 'em up for me is a bit of a no-brainer. Mbuemo with Tony gone, I think is their new talisman. He's also will likely be on penalties. There's a slight fitness concern that the manager is saying that if he should be fit for the first game week. So if he's fit and if you're considering two 6.5 midfielders, the first should be Mitoma and next should be Mbuemo. Diaby is another player I'm finally discussing because Diaby is a player that I really, really like. He was on my radar, or I was watching the other news regarding the up and coming, talents in Europe, and Diaby's name was always up there. He's a player that can play anywhere across the front three, and I don't think Villa does not know his best, which his best position is at the moment. He can play as a center forward, he can play left wing, he can play right wing. But if Villa can figure out what the best position is for him, I think he has the potential to be one of the best players in the Premier League this season. So Diaby is another that I have on my radar or on my watch list. He's a wait and see for me, but as soon as he hits some kind of form, I think I'll get him in my team.
Thanks, Ashfaq. That was quick. That was much better and much faster. But anyway, I'm not going to ask any questions because I think we have already delved into this quite deep, and we have already spoken about it a lot. So let's go into our draft. And I think the first draft that I would like to bring is Parvez's. So Parvez, over to you.
So first of all, আমার যে টিমটা আমরা এখন দেখতেছি এটা হলো আমার এখন বর্তমান কারেন্ট ড্রাফট। সো এই জায়গাটাতে আসলে আমি যে জিনিসটা করছি যে আমি 4-3 ফরমেশনটাতে আমি প্রথম প্ল্যান করতেছি। সো আমার গোল কি অবভিয়াসলি ওনানা এবং টার্নার। বাট যে জিনিসটা আমি বলতেছি যে আমার এই মুহূর্তে ডিফেন্সিভ যে এটা মোটামুটি কোয়াইট সবার সাথেই মিলবে, গ্যাব্রিয়েল স্টোনস এবং স্টুপিনান। বাট মিডফিল্ডে আমি যেটা করছি যে আমি এখানে সালাতে আমি যাই নাই, এবং ইভেন আপনারা দেখছেন যে আমার ডিফেন্সও আর্নল্ড এই জায়গাটাতে নাই। সো মিডফিল্ডে যে জিনিসটা আমি করছি যে আমি ডিফারেন্সিয়াল পিক একটা রাখছি, সেটা হলো মেডিসন। এবং বাকি যে পিকগুলো আপনারা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন এটা সাকা, রাশফোর্ড, ব্রুনো ফার্নান্ডেস, এরা একটা মোটামুটি কমন পিক। এবং যে জিনিসটা আমি করছি যেহেতু আমি 3-4-3-তে খেলতেছি, সো আমার ফিফথ যে মিডফিল্ডারটা এটা আমি অ্যান্ডারসনকে পিক করছি। আদারওয়াইজ বাকি যে টিমটার মধ্যে আছে আমি জোয়াও পেড্রোকে আমি পার্সোনালি মনে করতেছি যে স্টার্টার, এবং পেনাল্টি নিবে 5.5। এবং সবচেয়ে ইন্টারেস্টিং জিনিস হলো এইটা হলো আমার কারেন্ট ড্রাফট। বাট আমার একটা প্ল্যান আছে, আমি কারেন্ট ড্রাফটের নাদিমের সাথেও শেয়ার করছি। অ্যাকর্ডিং টু বেন পেরলিন এবং প্ল্যানেট এপিএল, যার কথা অনুযায়ী হইলো যে এই সিজনে আসলে গেমিক 37-এর আগে এরকম বিগ কোনো অপশন নাই, ডবল গেমিক বা এরকম সামথিং। আমার প্ল্যান হইলো গেমিক 1-এ বেঞ্চ বুস্টের একটা প্ল্যান আমার আছে। সো এই কারণে আমার প্রত্যেকটা প্লেয়ারই প্লেইং আমি অপশন রাখছি। এটা হলো আমার পার্সোনাল থট, বাট এটা আমার যে বেঞ্চ বুস্ট একটু হেডি, মানে সবসময় একটু হেডেক দেয়। দ্যাটস ওয়াই আমার প্রত্যেকটা প্লেয়ার নেওয়ার আমি প্ল্যান করতেছি। সো এখান থেকে আসলে আমি কাউকে আসলে ধোঁয়াশার মধ্যে ফেলবো না যে আসলে এই কথাটা বলার কারণে হয়তো অনেকে অন্যরকম রিয়াক্ট করতে পারে, বাট এটা কোয়াইট পসিবল যে আমি আসলে চান্স আছে যে আমি গেমিক ফার্স্টেই যে জিনিসটা করবো যে বেঞ্চ বুস্ট একটা প্ল্যান আমার মাথার মধ্যে আসছে।
Right. Okay. Thanks, Parvez. Thanks. I will have no problem with your selection. So let me go with my draft in the meantime. And that is, so it's pretty standard and pretty template. I have Johnston, as I've shown a lot of love for him. And I think my argument about, having 0.5 more with Onana than Johnston, I think is kind of justified. At least I understand that argument. So I'm going with Johnston. Gabriel Stones, Estupinian, I don't think so. We need to talk really about it too much. Rashford, Saka, Bruno, I think they were from the very beginning. I didn't tinker too much, by the way, throughout this 1 month. I think I tinkered only thrice, and I made a couple of changes. Just the Madison spot this is where I kept Foden, but then I changed to Madison after I did my Ange ball analysis, and I felt Madison was important. The other change that I brought in was Jackson, because I had Visa at the beginning, but then when I saw Jackson, I thought, like, he's just too good, so I would go with Jackson. Yeah, beside that, I think the picks are pretty standard. I've gone with Cash, hoping that Cash would be the defender from Aston Villa, who would be more advanced, as Saif has said. I wanted to do a little bit of a tactical analysis on Aston Villa, but then I thought, like, তাহলে আজকে আমাদের সারাদিন শুধু tactical analysis করতে হবে, বাকি আর কোনো কিছু করা যাবে না আর কি. So that's why I didn't go with all the other ones. Chilwell is obvious. Mubama is 4.5. So yeah, that's it. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer. I think most likely I'm going to stick with this team. I'm not going to change much. Any questions? No? Then I can go to Saif's team. Saif, over to you.
Yeah. As I said previously, this is not my current draft. This is the first draft, and this is the only draft I have saved. So I'll be discussing that. So my initial impression was I was really excited with Madison, and I was not really impressed with any of the other forward options except for Haaland. So I went for 4-5-1 because I think the value was in defense and midfield much more than in forward section. But forward options have emerged a bit in Jackson and Wissa there also, and then Joao Pedro, if he can earn his spot, he will be a very good option at 5.5. So currently my thinking is that I will play a 3-5-2. I think playing without 5 in midfield should not be in your thinking because the value is so much in midfield. There are so many very good options and potentially brilliant options in midfield that going without 5 is a bit of a dumb move in my opinion, because I think you should have 5 playing midfields, and the pricings of the Arsenal midfielders and then pricing of Bruno and Rashford, I think is really, it makes it really convenient to fit all 4. If you are not going with Salah, and even with Salah you can fit in at least 3 of the 4. So I don't think I will keep Madison in my current draft or the draft I will begin with. I will be going for one of the 6.5 midfielders because I want to have someone from that price point, because I think at some point their price points will become very important in the season because there are lots of potentially good options there. We have already discussed that. So Martinelli is another one whose price was exciting for me. I think he was underpriced in 8, but the thing is rotation threat from Trossard and Havertz is something that I'm considering. And now I'm considering leaving and starting without Martinelli and bringing in another 6.5 spot, 6.5 player. The defense, I think Gabriel and Stupinan, as I said, they will be staying in my team, and Henry is, if fit, he will be staying. But I will likely bring out Botman, and I will likely bring in someone like Chilwell or Stones. These are the 2 in my thinking. And even though I have Pickford in my current draft, I have narrowed it down between Pickford and Johnston. So I have not yet decided on which one I will start, but it will be between Pickford and Johnson. And Leno, even though he is there, it will be replaced with the 4-point goalkeeper. So Baldock is the one I have chosen as my 4-point defender because I think he will start the season, and we knew from the season's past he can be a very good, effective option from the right wing back for Sheffield. And then we all need a 4.5 bench fodder as forward. I think Obama is there. And for me, the second forward, I think, would be one of Wissa or Pedro, because I would not likely to spend more than 6 million at that spot. But I will see. I will play around with my draft. And I'm not still decided on Salah. That's the big question, because if I take out Salah, I will have lots of cash left. So I can play around a bit more. But I am a bit biased as a Liverpool fan, and I am a bit biased as a saying Salah for the last few seasons. I just cannot make myself to bring him out of my team yet. So I think that will be a last minute decision. So playing lots
Yeah,
of
I
playing
understand you.
around to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel your pain. Yeah, Saif. Yeah, I can feel. By the way, one question, Saif. Who is Viju or Vijo? I've never seen this player. Sorry, somebody from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, he's somebody from Nottingham Forest. It's just a nothing pick. I liked
It's
his
a
name, and
placeholder.
he is. Whenever I want to pick a bench fodder, I like to go for the least owned options because then they don't have that much chance of a price drop because you don't want a price drop from your bench fodder. So that's why I went for Ucho. I think he's 0% owned.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point that everybody should remember that you shouldn't have bench heavy ownership benches because then if the price drops, it affects you. Yeah. Anyway, last one, and that is over to you, Ashfaq, with your draft.
সো ফার্স্ট অফ অল সাইড ভাই হচ্ছে একটু ভুয়া একটা টিম হচ্ছে গিয়ে ডিসকাস করছে, যে টিমটা আসলে সে খেলাবে না, সে টিমটা হচ্ছে দর্শকদের দেখানোর জন্য একটা ডিসকাস করছে, বাট নেভারদলেস আমার
I'm
টিমটা
already
কন্ট্রারি টু হোয়াট
you
সাইড
played
Very
it.
ভাই
clear. Team
সেজ, আমার টিমটা কন্ট্রারি টু হোয়াট সাইড ভাই মাইট সেভ হয়ে গেছে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি এই জিনিসটাই সেভ করা আছে এবং মাইট বি ক্লোজ টু হোয়াট আই উইল অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্লে, বাট নেভারদলেস আই এম ডিসকাসিং ইট নাও. Regarding the goalkeeper, like I said earlier in the pod, my choice is between Flecken and Johnston right now. It's currently on Flecken, but before the deadline, it might switch to Johnston. Between Flecken and Johnston, they have, I think, Flecken has the easier fixture, so that is why it's still on Flecken here. I'm still undecided on that. The defense is a bit template here regarding the starting choices. My only concern is the bench is a bit weakened, I think, with Baldock and Bear, both bench fodders, although both are starters, what I can believe. And Burnley has a decent defensive record, I think, in the championship, although I'm not sure what kind of effect that will have in the Premier League, but nevertheless, they are not a bad defensive side overall. But the first starters is Gabriel for obvious reasons. He's a great goal threat, like Saipai rightly said, and Arsenal has one of the best opening fixtures. Similar goes for Stones as well. Uh, the onus is on who among the City defenders will start in the big initial game weeks, but I think Stone has a better chance as any. Estupinian, again, Brighton has one of the best opening features as well, and Estupinian's opening, because his attacking potential is very high, his ownership is very high as well. It would be a really risky risk not to go with Estupinian. Mitoma, I've already discussed in my 6.5 midfield discussion that I think Mitoma is the best 6.5 midfielder out there. I'm betting that Mbuemo will start as well. That is why I'm picked Mbuemo as well. Mbuemo, I think, will be on penalties in the absence of Tony. He will play center forward. He's listed as a midfielder. That is an added advantage. Between Rashford and Bruno, I think Rashford is the better choice. I had the budget to pick only one of them. I went for Rashford. If I had the budget to pick both of them, I would probably pick two. Trossard is only in my team because I'm looking for a differential in my team at the moment. I will look at some forums and take into consideration that whether he will start or he has the highest risk of not starting, then maybe he will go out of my team and someone else will come into play. But I'm looking for a differential, and that is why Trossard is there at the moment. But I will decide maybe late tomorrow whether he will stay or not.
Can
Haaland is
guarantee that you won't
there
stay.
for obvious. Haaland is there for obvious reasons, and like Parvez said, I think next to Haaland, Watkins is probably the next best choice you can go for. So Haaland and Watkins is there for me. Bench fodder, like I said, that the defense is a bit weakened here. Archer is a placeholder only. I think he has a chance to start. He doesn't have a chance to start. I think he will maybe make some sub appearances, but he's there for a placeholder only. So that is about the discussion of my team.
Thanks, and I think that concludes the show. To be honest, yeah, that does conclude the show. So yeah, just our banner
Question.
there, right? There. Yeah, go ahead, Saif.
So I think PL has decided that they will follow the World Cup extra time format. So I think they will count all the times that the ball will be out of the field, and I think we are likely to see 20-30 minutes extra times like we saw at the World Cup. So games will be around 100 to 120 minutes long. So, how do you think will that affect the FPL landscape?
Uh, I think this is a very interesting question, to be honest. And one of the research that I did based on fantasy football scout data, one thing that came quite very clear was towards the 80 85 minutes there were a lot of goals that were conceded last year. A lot of goals were conceded towards the end. Now if that is the trend that continues this season, and with extra time, or let's say additional time, I think the chances of clean sheet becomes very limited. And I think for an FPL point of view, what would be important is to keep the defense light. So my understanding at least says that, I personally believe that big at the back days are gone. You Those days of big at the back is no more there. And I think one of the good thing about this whole 100 minutes, or 110 minutes, or whatever minutes it will be, one of the good thing is you will have some of these players who are coming from the bench. You might see some of them coming at 55 minutes just to balance it out. So that might be a good thing, that both players ultimately gets just 1 point, 1 point each, rather than one getting 6 and 1 point getting, or maybe sometime it might get just 45 and other getting the full 60 minutes. It can happen. So that's the added side to it. Yeah, but it's a very tricky situation. What is very clear is that defense, you shouldn't go heavy on the defense with the extra minutes. Yeah, if I go by the stats, and if that trend continues this season, that you concede goals at 85 or towards the end. Parvez,
Yeah,
anything to add? No. Saif, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. Adding on to your point, I think the focus should be on attacking defenders a bit now, because, as you said, the likelihood of clean sheet has diminished, will likely be diminished. So rather than going for clean sheets, we should be focusing more on defenders who will likely have attacking returns, like the likes of Chilwell, Estupinian, Gabriel. And also another thing is, it increases the value of the 90 minutes players like Bruno and Salah. So they will get around 110 minutes to get a return. So that, I think, increases their point potential
Yeah.
that much, and that, I think, increases their value that much. So that would be interesting. And another thing I want to discuss was, interestingly, even though, uh, let's say if a game goes on to 120 minutes, and a player comes in and around the 60 minutes mark, so he will play for 60 minutes, but he will be getting only 1 point, because the extra 30 minutes will be counted as injury time, so that won't be counted in his appearance points. So he will be only getting 1 appearance point. So that's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
So he will play for 60
That,
minutes, but he will only get points for 30 minutes. So
yeah, that's what I'm
additional
saying.
appearance points will be there. Additional appearance points won't be there, but there will be much more attacking chances of getting attacking returns for the bench options, like the likes of Foden, who might be benched every now and then the likes of Jota and Nunes will might be coming on from the bench. So they become a bit of an option now, because they will be playing as the tired
totally agree
legs.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they will be getting the cherry of
totally
the
agree
cake.
on that. Totally. Okay, let's go to the question section, and let's not try to delve too much into details, because we have already spoken for 2 hours. And thanks to the audience for having such a patience. I mean, we are very sorry for such a long pod, but to be honest, there was so much to discuss, and we didn't want to give you any sort of information that you
Not
feel
my
like,
fault this time.
yeah, Gone Football
Yeah,
didn't cover.
it's never your fault.
Sorry, what?
It's never his fault.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the question straight away. So try and be brief with your answers, but try and give them as much details as possible, but doesn't mean too much details. Yeah, we have already discussed too much details. Right. So Naimun Rahman, Naim, that is Shian Naim, basically. Good to see you, brother. Assalamu alaikum, bhaira, kemun achen? We are all good, brother. We are all good, doing great. Tawajul Islam Hridar says, hello, assalamu alaikum, brother. Wa alaikum assalam. My first one is, who will be the best 6.5 except Pitoma? Parvez?
Is it?
Okay. Okay. And then Aryan Hussain Bhai is asking, Visa or Java Petro? Saif?
Visa.
Visa. Okay. And then Tazid Rahman is asking, thoughts about Visa? I have no fund for Watkins. Ashfaq?
I think everyone is pro Visa here. He's only 6 million, so I don't think you can go much wrong here. So Visa can be a good option with Tony being gone.
Right. Thanks. And look at this Kauser making a comment here. Nadim Bhai and Ashfaq Bhai কেমন লাগছে discount Highland pair আর ম্যাগুয়ার চলে যাওয়ার শোক কি কাটাতে পারেছেন? Yeah, very happy with the Highland signing. We needed a striker long term, young, talented. Let's hope he'll succeed. He has the talent, and I think Ten Hag is a good coach. So yeah, there's a possibility. I'm happy that Maguire is leaving. I think he's been a disaster at Manchester United. He's never been in form.
Yeah, I hope he does well. I hope Maguire does well in West Ham. I wish him all the best. He did not find his best form in United, etc., etc. There's a big debate about Højlund, comparisons to Haaland, etc., etc. Because of his, low goal scoring record, United paying so much, etc. There's a big discussion, big argument. There's a big heated discussions in the United forums as well. But you have to take into consideration that Højlund had only 2 full seasons in his career. 2 full seasons in his career. The second season he scored only 12 goals for Molde. So he's not probably in a place to be compared to Haaland yet. But he does have the potential. So that is what we're going for, and you are playing top money for potential here. Nothing else.
Just a myth buster, yeah. And time will speak, of course. And I'm not saying that this is going to be accurate reflection of what I'm saying, but time will speak. But as far the stats so far, just to let you know, that all the strikers who joined at the age of 20 at the Premier League, and if you take their total goal involvement into consideration, I think there was Robin van Persie, there were other strikers, Kane included as well. And Højlund had goal involvement of 23, whereas Robin van Persie had a goal involvement of 21, and Kane had only 5. Now look at where Kane is, and look at where Robin van Persie reached when he became a mature player. So yeah, that is the stats. So if you predict it according to that, it is expected that Højlund is going to shine. But again, time will speak. I'm not going to put my money on it, or I'm not saying that this is definitely going to happen. What I'm trying to say is the current stats favors it. So you can understand why the big money is being paid. Yeah, just to be clear on that. Okay, Arabic Bhai sends his love. Thank you so much, Bhai. And then he says, Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Wa alaikum assalam, brother. Ajay Borua is commenting thoughts on Mubama. Saif.
I think Skamaka is gone. Nings, I think, has aged another year, and he always has fitness concern. So I think Mubama will get minutes from the bench. So he can be a very good 4.5 option. So if any of your player unexpectedly miss out, you might get at least one appearance point, and then you might get the odd attacking return. So he can be a good bench for that 4.5.
Thanks, Saif. Then Parvez, Shamim Hossain Bhai is asking, is Trossard a good option? Best 4.5 GK to start in the 11?
ট্রসার্ড আসলে যেই পজিশনটাতে খেলবে, লাস্ট সিজনে আমরা দেখছি যখন জিজাস খেলে নাই, বাট ওই সময় কিন্তু ট্রসার্ড আসলে আর্সেনালে ছিল না, অর্থাৎ গেমিং 15 থেকে 26 পর্যন্ত। দ্যাটস ওয়াই আমরা বলতে পারতেছি না যে আসলে, বাট যে জিনিসটা আমরা প্রি সিজনের ম্যাচের মধ্যে দেখছি যে ট্রসার্ড কিন্তু ওই জায়গাটাতে যখনই খেলতেছে, তো ফলস 9 হিসেবে খেলতেছে, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আর কি। বাট ট্রসার্ডের ক্ষেত্রে আমি যেটা বলবো, তার মিনিট নিয়ে প্রবলেম হইতে পারে, বাট ট্রসার্ড অপশন কিনা এটা আমরা আসলে একটু ওয়েট এন্ড সি, যে তখন আমরা বুঝতে পারবো। বেস্ট 4.5 গোলকিপার টু স্টার্ট ইন দ্য 11, আমি জনস্টনে যাইতে যাব 4.5।
Right. Okay. This is a question for Scousers asking Scousers the questions anyway, which is good. Shian Naim is asking Saif and Parvez bhai Levier বদলে আমরা Caicedo-কে পেতে যাচ্ছি ব্যাপারটাকে কিভাবে দেখছেন? Saif, what do you think?
I don't trust FSG. And I would not be surprised if we don't get either of them. And if we start with Jones at the center, a defensive midfielder. So I'm ব্যাপারটা কোনোভাবেই দেখছি না আসলে। Let one of them join first. We badly need at
Liverpool
least
is
two more
paying £100
midfielders.
million for Caicedo, really?
Yeah, that's why I said I don't trust FSG. They are buying another sports team, but they won't be investing in the sports team they currently have. They destroyed Red Sox and they are on their way to destroy Liverpool. We are lucky to have Klopp. He has been papering over the cracks, but I don't think he can for much long.
Nach na jane angan tera. Anyway, let's not get into that. Okay, Todil Islam Hirizar bhai is asking, what about Bowen? Should I pick over Diaby? Ashfaq?
Bowen is something that I considered initially, but I think in that price range, if you can go a bit more like 8 million or something like that, I think there are better options. But Bowen is something I think I considered initially. The first 4 fixtures for Bowen is good. After that, it gets a bit trickier. But for the short run or initial 1 or 3 weeks, he can be an option. But I don't think he's an option at least over the 7 or 8 game weeks, which I normally consider for a player. So I think you have better options in the 6.5 or 8 million in 8 million range. Oh, the next question is about Diaby. Like I said, Diaby is a wait and see for me. I think he's one of the players that can be one of the standout players of this season. He can play anywhere across the front three. He's effective anywhere, and if Villa finds his best position to play in, I think he can be one of the standout performers in the Premier League. But he's a wait and watch for me. I have been on a watch list, so if he starts to perform, I can get him in easily. So that is where I'm with Diaby at the moment.
Thanks, Ashfaq. And then Tanvit Azwar bhai is asking, Watkins or Joao Pedro? Parvez? Watkins.
কারণ ওয়াটকিন্স এর প্রাইস পয়েন্টটা এমন, ওখান থেকে আমি যে কোনো জায়গাতে জাম্প করতে পারবো। দ্যাটস ওয়াই ওয়াটকিন্স।
Okay. And then Saif, Alam Sharia Jolok bhai is asking, hello bhai, assalamu alaikum, walaikum assalam, very good to see you all. Is Salah must? Also long term City defense newa uchit na? It's a question basically. Saif, what do you think? Salah is a must?
Salah is no longer a must. It's a bit of a dilemma as we've been discussing all along in this pod. So no Salah, no Salah is all about how you feel about him and how you want to set up your team. So if you get Salah, then you have to be a bit more creative with your team. But if you go without Salah, then you can have lots of funds and you can spend on the likes of Rashford, Bruno, Martinelli, Saka effortlessly. So that depends on you, but Salah is not a must. Salah is Salah. He will score again. I think he will score more than 20 points, but it's about the trade-off you have by having him over the others. So it's all about your risk appetite and the opportunity cost. And long-term City defense in I think it's not true because City will again be the best defensive side in the league. They have just signed one of the best central defenders and young central defenders in the world in Gabriel. So I think if you want to set your team up for long term, I think Ruben Dias can be a very good option because whenever he's fit, he plays. He's the leader of the defense, so he does not really have any competition for his spot. So unless there is really congested fixture list, which does not come until December, he won't be rotated. So if you want to pick someone for the long term, I think Ruben Dias can be one. But for the first 7-8 fixtures, I think Stones can be another very good option, as we discussed in the pod.
Thanks. And just coming to the Rate My Team, audience, I just want to let you know, tomorrow we have our new pod, which is called Just Chat FPL. Parvez will be doing it. So he will be rating some of the teams, the first 10 teams that has already been selected. And of course, if you want your team to be rated without the tool of fantasy football, then please send your teams in the live section during the comments, and Parvez will rate it for you. Now, Ashfaq, I'll come to the. There is a Rate My Team that is coming, and just for all the comments that I see, there is quite a number of Rate My Teams. Only talk about the problems that they have. Don't have to go into all the team whether this is a good pick or not. If something is good, don't need to talk about it. Only talk about the problem that they have, yeah, or that we want them to change or suggest changes. Okay, so here is Naimur Rahman Naim's team, and he says, "What
Isn't this
about
a
this team?"
side by question?
No, I know, I get the joke, Ashfaq, but unfortunately, it fell on yours, so I am not
It's a
biased.
new season. It's a new start.
Yeah. Okay. Ashfaq, over to you. Can you read this and see what you would like to change in Share
Right.
Naim's team?
So regarding your team, the first thing that stands out for me is your bench is a bit weakened. You have two 4 million defenders. I think that is a bit can be a bit of a concern for you. Diaby is another concern because Diaby for me is a wait and see. I think he has the potential to be one of the best players this season, but the Premier League is new to him. The Villa team is new to him, so I think I would rather be suited to invest in other, you know, better featured FPL players like Mbuemo or like Parvez Bhai is mentioning Eze or something like that. So that is something that you can consider. So I think you should, invest a bit more in your defense and balance out your team, and um, put Diaby on the watch list. Otherwise, it's a decent team.
Thanks. Thanks, Ashfaq. That was exactly how I wanted it. You're getting smart, Ashfaq. That's a bit of a
I've gotten older.
it's a bit of a problem for me. I don't have. Oh, okay. All right. Parvez, over to you. Famid
Older and
Muntasir Bhai is
wiser.
asking. Yeah, thanks. Famid Muntasir Bhai is asking Mitoma or Eze, Parvez?
মিটোবা বিকজ অফ লাস্ট সিজনে যদি আমি এক্সপেক্টেড এক্সজিআই যদি দেখি এক্সজিআই পার 90 সেটাতে মিটোমারটা হলো 0.50 এবং এজেটা হলো 0.35। এটার একটা কারণ, আর একটা কারণ হলো যে মিটোমার ওনারশিপ। মিটোমা এই মুহূর্তে 38% এবং এজে হলো only 16%, so I like to go with মিটোমা।
Thanks. Saif, finally, a big question coming. Question from Naim Sharkar. I have Mitoma, Rashford, Saka, Martinelli. Now suggest me a 8 million range, or I have Watkins, Haaland. Now suggest me a striker 8 million range. Over to you.
I don't really get the question. They want to replace the players they have. They already have Rashford, Saka, Martinelli, and they want to come in 8 million range. And they have Watkins, and then they want another striker 8 million range. Either way, I think
Saif, we can't hear you.
Sorry,
We can't hear you properly.
I don't really get the question. Do they want to replace some of the players they have?
He has
covered the 8 million range.
Mitoma, Rashford, Saka, Martinelli. Now he wants another 8 million midfielder. That's one. And I have Watkins, Haaland. Now he wants another 8 million range. So basically, he wants either an 8 million midfielder or an 8 million striker. So what you can do is you can say more.
So if you want to have another striker alongside Watkins and Haaland, I would suggest go for a bit lower priced ones like a Pedro or Wissa. And if you have budget to spare, then go for Jackson. And for 8 million range midfielders, I would again suggest go for someone from the 6.5 million range. If you have already Mitoma, then go for Mbuemo. You can go for Mbuemo, Eze, or Diaby. Or you can punt on Jota, because Jota is someone I really like. I think he will start the season. So he can be a good option to cover the Liverpool attack. So that's it.
Thanks. Ashfaq. Yeah, Shubho Mahmood Bhai is asking you a question. My team is Onana, Gabriel, Estupinian, Pinnock, Salah, Saka, Rashford, Mitoma, Haaland, Watkins, Yao Pedro, Bench, Areloa, Nakamba, Baldock, Cabore. Please put your valuable suggestion, if any. Only the concerns, please, Ashfaq. You are getting older.
So again, the first concern is that your defense bench is a bit weakened. So I'm not sure if you have any money in the bank or anything. So regarding this, what is Sci-Fi doing? Fingering in the screen. This is very distracting. So first thing you should do is invest a bit in your defense. Your bench is full of 4 million defenders, so that is a concern here. If you don't have any money in the bank, I would rather downgrade your defend goalkeeper zero point 0.5 and invest zero point 0.5 more in a more secure defender, out of the 4 million defenders here. And between the bench, I think you should move for Turner ahead of Areola, because I think Fabianski is still the first choice there. There is no guarantee that Areola will start, over the course of the season. But Turner is a more definite starter. So I think that is something you should do there.
Thanks, Ashfaq. And by the way, audience, I hope all of you all are above 18, because Ashfaq is kind of using strange languages these days. So yeah, apologies if you're not above 18 or below 18. Yeah, this content is highly rated for 18 and above, by the way. Just a precautions. Jevin Hassan Jishan is asking, hello everyone, good to see you all. Good to see you, brother. Fifth midfielder near dilemma achi, suggest me the best one within 7.5. Other midfields are Salah, Saka, Rashford, Mitoma. Thinking about going for Trossard as fifth mid, but want to hear your suggestion. Parvez?
ফার্স্টে আমি যদি কোশ্চেন ছিল যে ফিফথ মিডফিল্ডার নিয়ে যে ডাইলামাটা আছে, স্বাভাবিকভাবে এই জায়গাটাতে অনেকে 6.5 এর মিডফিল্ডার অথবা 4.5 এর মিডফিল্ডারকে সবসময় প্রায়োরিটি দিয়ে রাখতেছে। বাট এই মুহূর্তে যেহেতু 7.5 এর বেস্ট মিডফিল্ডারকে সাজেস্ট করতে বলা হয়েছে, তো এই মুহূর্তে আমার মাথায় যদি আসে যে বেস্ট 7.5 মিডফিল্ডার ইজ মেডিসন। যদিও এটাতে আশফাক হয়তোবা আমার সাথে এগ্রি করবে না, বাট আমি মেডিসনের উপরেই বেশি ভরসা রাখবো, বিকজ অফ আদার্স যে 7.5 মিডফিল্ডার আছে লাইক ফর্ডেন, এই জায়গাটাতে আমি ফর্ডেনে এখনো আমি সেই রকম আস্থা পাচ্ছি না। বাট মেডিসনের অ্যাটলিস্ট গেম টাইমটা বেশি হবে, এই কারণে আমি মেডিসনের উপর যাচ্ছি। প্রিসিজন ফর্মও তার ভালো ছিল। আর ট্রসার্ডের ব্যাপারে যেটা বলছে যে ট্রসার্ডের ক্ষেত্রেও সেই সেম জিনিসটা হবে, বাট ট্রসার্ড আমার কাছে মোস্ট লাইকলি মনে হচ্ছে যে হয়তোবা সাব অন হিসেবে আসবে। স্টার্টিং এ হাভার্সের আসার চান্সটা একটু বেশি। সো এই জন্য আমি ট্রসার্ডের উপরও এই মুহূর্তে ফিফথ মিডফিল্ডার হিসেবে যে সেটাতে যেতে যাবো না। 7 মিলিয়নে আসলে বোয়েন একটা অপশন আছে, এবং এর চাইতে লোয়ার অপশন অনেক ভালো ভালো অপশন আছে, যা লাইক মিটোমা, এজে, এমবুয়েমো, ডিয়াবি, এই জায়গাতে যেতে যাবো। সো 7 মিলিয়ন আমি অ্যাভয়েড করব এই মুহূর্তে।
Thanks, Parvez. By the way, audience, jara shonen nai, I stand corrected. Last pode ami bolchilam, please take medicine out. So jara shonen nai, ami kintu already apologies korechi je I would like to take that back. If you are interested in getting medicine, please go ahead and please bring him in. Karon apni onekei suggest korechilam don't go with medicine, but I stand corrected. My apologies for that. So jara shonen nei, I'm just repeating that so that you know. Yeah, Ashfaq, don't make that face. I'm talking about medicine, by the way. It's okay. It's okay, Ashfaq. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Tamid Hassan Nafiz is saying, Saif, question to you, of course. What about Trossard?
Trossard's দাম কত?
7 million.
I think we have so many good options at 6.5. So wasting 7 million on a player you are not sure about is not worth the risk, I think. Because for me, Trossard will still start on the bench. Martinelli will start from the offset, and then Havertz will likely play at the false 9. So Trossard will likely come on as a substitute. So, and even if he starts, I think he will be subbed off at the 60 to 50 minutes mark. So I don't think it's worth the risk when you have talismanic players like Mbuemo, Eze, and even Biabi at 6.5. So it's not worth the risk for me. I think Jota even is a better option than Trossard.
Thanks. Saif. And then there's somebody commenting on Said Naid Bhai saying Naim Sarkar Cop King. So basically, Naim Sarkar is basically a Liverpool fan, I think. Okay. That's good to know. Scousers, full of Scousers in this chat. My goodness me. There's only a few Red Devils here, but there's too many Scousers. Ashfaq, do you feel allergic? In case you're not feeling allergic, let me know.
I am.
Tawdil Islam,
I am.
yeah, me too. Me too, me
Just
too, yeah.
sleepy.
Yeah, Tawdil Islam Hidayah is asking Mings or Pau. My defense is S2 Gabriel. Shaw Pau Kabore, is that okay? Shaw Pau Kabore, is that okay? Ashfaq,
Yeah, between them, Paul Torres and Mings, I think Cash is the better option. I think a lot of discussion has been done on this spot regarding Cash. So I think they are equally priced. And if you want to invest in a Villa defense, I think Cash is your guy. Uh, but if you think Cash can be is an injury risk or is a fitness risk or maybe a rotation risk, and you are dead bent on investing in a center back, I think Paul Torres is your guy. But rather, I would rather invest in Cash. Um, if your first choice defense is Shaw, Paul Torres, and Kabore, that is a concern because my understanding is then your bench is also full of
They have Stupinian and Gabriel.
4 million defenders as well. So
He
I
has
would rather
Stupinian
invest a bit more
Gabriel.
in the defense. So it's Gabriel, Shaw, Paul, and Kabore.
no, Estupinian. There is
So I
Pau
Estupinian as
yesterday.
oh, sorry, the
Pau
Estupinian.
is his
Sorry,
fourth
sorry.
defense.
Estupinian, Gabriel, Shaw, Paul, Kabore. Yeah, it's a decent lineup. It's a decent lineup. So Gabriel is one of the most popular defenders out there. Arsenal has one of the best fixture list in the beginning of the season. Shaw and Kabore and Estupinian, these are all good picks. So good for you. I think that is a decent defense to go with.
thanks, Ashfaq. Tawdil Islam Hidayah is asking Parvez, Gabriel or Julian Timber?
অবভিয়াসলি গ্যাব্রিয়েল, কারণ গ্যাব্রিয়েল একটা মোটামুটি সবার এপিএল ম্যানেজারদের মধ্যে একটা টেমপ্লেট পিক, 28% তার ওনারশিপ এই মুহূর্তে। এবং আমরা যেগুলো টপ সিলেকশন ডিফেন্ডার যেগুলো আমরা দেখিয়েছি তাদের মধ্যে গ্যাব্রিয়েলের এক্সজি পার 90টা হলো সবচেয়ে বেশি, অর্থাৎ অন্যান্য যারা আছে তাদের চাইতে অ্যাটলিস্ট ডবল, অর্থাৎ 0.13 লাস্ট সিজনে তার এক্সজি ছিল পার 90। সো বাকিরা যারা আছে যে সেকেন্ড বেস্টও হলো 0.9। সো এই জায়গা থেকে আমি বলবো যে গ্যাব্রিয়েল একটা অবভিয়াস পিক।
Right. Audience, if you haven't given us a like or a comment after watching this pod, then please do so right now. We would love that and we would appreciate all the love coming from you. Saif, are you there? Saif, I think we have lost him a little bit. Next question. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ashfaq, this question comes to you then. Farmid Muntasir is saying Anderson 4.5 Newcastle plus Jackson 7.5 million Chelsea, 0.5 million in the bank, or Madison 7.5, Mubama 4.5 West Ham plus 0 in the bank. Which option do you think is better?
Anderson plus Jackson plus 0.5 bank, or Madison plus Mbuema 0 bank. Mbuema, Anderson, Jackson. I like the first draft a bit more because I think both of them will start and has a bit of point potential in the beginning of the season. I'm not sure of Anderson's long-term prospects, but Anderson has been one of the most informed players at preseason, in the preseason. But I'm not sure of his long-term prospects. So my slight concern with Anderson is that he will have a decent amount of ownership, and if he loses that ownership, his price will likely drop. But between them, for me, I like the first draft a bit more because, like I said, I'm not really convinced on Madison. I will have to wait 1 or 2 games to see his output with Kane gone. I have one argument against it. Nadim Bhai has one argument for it. So if you're asking me, I would rather go with the first. Well, I'm a bit more lenient on the first option between those two.
Thanks, Saif. We have lost.
Ashfaq, not Saif.
So sorry. Thanks, Ashfaq. We have lost Saif. Not I have. Thanks, Saif. We have lost Ashfaq. Yeah, I stand corrected again. Again, I'm getting used to it. Yeah, I'm getting used to the doing pod again. Yeah. All right. Shian Naim is asking, what about Jota, Foden, Timber, Udogi, Parvez?
জোটার ক্ষেত্রে যেটা আমি পার্সোনালি মনে করি, প্রি সিজন সে ভালো করছে এবং মানে আমি পার্সোনালি ফিল করি যে জোটা যেহেতু এবার একটা নতুন এফপিএল এর একটা অপশন আসছে যে আমরা এক্সট্রা টাইমের মধ্যেও কিন্তু একটা প্লেয়ারের অনেক প্লেইং টাইম দেখতে পারবো, সেক্ষেত্রে জোটা একটা অবভিয়াসলি একটা আমার কাছে মনে হয় গুড পিক এই মুহূর্তে। বাট এটা সিচুয়েশন বলে দিব, অর্থাৎ জোটা যদি স্টার্টও করে তাহলে 60 মিনিট, আর জোটা স্টার্ট না করলেও যদি সাবওয়ানও হয় তাও তো সে অ্যাটলিস্ট 35 বা 40 মিনিটের মতন পাবে, এবং এটা আমার মনে হয় জোতার জন্য এনাফ। এবং ফোর্ডেনের ক্ষেত্রে যেটা বলবো যে এই মুহূর্তে আসলে সে কোন পজিশনে খেলবে, পজিশনটা একটা ফ্যাক্টর। দ্যাটস ওয়াই আমি বলবো যে ওয়েট অ্যান্ড সি, ফোর্ডেনকে ওয়েট করতে বলবো। এবং টিম্বার ওডোজি দুজনের ক্ষেত্রে আমি সেম কথাটাই বলবো, টিম্বারও ওয়েট অ্যান্ড সি। অ্যান্ড ওডোজির ক্ষেত্রেও যে 4.5 মিলিয়নের ফরওয়ার্ড আই থিঙ্ক ডিফেন্ডার, সো এই জায়গাটা তো আমি আসলে এর চেয়ে বেটার অপশন অন্যান্য যেগুলো আমরা সিলেকশনের মধ্যে দেখেছি ওইগুলাতে সিলেকশন করতে যাওয়াটা আর কি বেশি বেরোবে। এটা হলো এফপিএল পার্সপেক্টিভ থেকে আমি বলবো।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. And then somebody from the community is asking, what about Foden starter? Ashfaq, quickly, already Parvez covered it a little bit.
I don't think he starts at the beginning of the season. We thought he would start at right wing, but what we have believed that Bernardo Silva has taken that position naturally from Mahrez. So I think at least in the beginning of the season, Foden will be benched. So I don't have much confidence in investing in Foden at the moment.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Saif.
Thanks, Saif, Ashfaq.
He's gone. Saif is gone.
The name is Saishfaq.
Saishfaq. Yeah, that's a good name. Saishfaq. Okay. Ashiful Hassan Hanzala bhai is asking Nunes or Watkins.
অবভিয়াসলি ওয়াটকিন্সে দিতে যাবো, এই কারণে যে ওয়াটকিন্স 0.5 মিলিয়নে আমি একটা এমন প্লেয়ারকে পাচ্ছি যে তার গেম টাইম অনেক বেশি, এবং নুনেজ আসলে স্টার্ট করবে বা স্টার্ট করলেও কতটুকু খেলবে, 60 মিনিট বা 45 মিনিট, এটা একটা কোয়েশ্চেন মার্ক। সো আমি বলবো যে ওয়াটকিন্সে যাওয়াটা বেশি সেফ।
রাইট। ওকে, শিয়ান নাইম ইজ আস্কিং, মন বলছে মার্টিনেলি নিতে বাট ব্রেন বলছে সাকা নিতে, ডাইলেমা। Ashfaq?
It's not really a question, is it? So Saka is highly owned. Saka is highly owned, so he's also on penalties. He does not have any very much risk of rotation, whereas Martinelli has a slight risk of having his minutes managed with Trossard coming in, etc. So between them, I think Saka is the obvious pick if you're going for the safe route. But if you have the budget to afford two midfielders, I think maybe you can go for both. I think it will be a advantageous situation for you.
Right. Parvez, Haminu 9 is asking, Brighton triple worthy, Yao Pedro, Bissaka plus Shaw. No, Yao Pedro plus Bissaka or Shaw plus Mubama, no Onana. Mitoma plus Bissaka plus 4.5 forward, 0.5 in the bank, or 4.5 midfielder plus Shaw plus Watkins. কোনটা অপশন?
সো ব্রাইটন ট্রিপল আপ এর ক্ষেত্রে যেটা বলবো যে ব্রাইটনের ট্রিপল আপের ক্ষেত্রে আমাদেরকে আরেকটু ওয়েট করতে হবে। এই মুহূর্তে আমার মনে হয় যে একদম ফুল লোড নিয়ে ব্রাইটনের প্লেয়ারে ইনভেস্ট করাটা এটা আমার কাছে একটু রিস্কি মনে হয়। দুইজন অথবা একজন থেকে দুইজনের বেশি আমার কাছে মনে হয় না ওখানে ইনভেস্ট করাটা ভালো হবে। এন্ড আমি যদি সেকেন্ড কোশ্চেন আছে, জোয়া পেড্রো আর বিসাকা আর শ আর এমবুয়েমো, এবং তারপর তিনটা অপশন দেওয়া হয়। আমার মনে প্রথম দুইটা পরে এই দুইটা অপশন আনা হয়েছে। সো প্রথম দুইটা অপশনের মধ্যে জোয়া পেড্রো, বিসাকা এন্ড শ এমবুয়েমোর মধ্যে আমি যেতে যাবো শ এমবুয়েমো, যেহেতু ওনানা টিমের মধ্যে নেই। শ এমবুয়েমো এইটা ও সরি, তাহলে মুবামাতে আমি না যে জোয়া পেড্রো এবং বিসাকা এইটাতে আমি যেতে যাব, জোয়া পেড্রো প্লাস বিসাকা। এন্ড দেন সেকেন্ড যে কম্বিনেশনটা মিতোমা বিসাকা 4.5 ফরওয়ার্ড, আর
4.5 mid, Shaw or Watkins?
4.5 মিড শ আর ওয়াটকিন্স। আমি সেকেন্ড অপশনটাতে যাইতে দেবো। 4.5 এর একজন মিডফিল্ডার, যেটা অ্যান্ডারসন হইতে পারে, শ প্লাস ওয়াটকিন্স, এরা রেগুলার বেসিসে খেলবে এবং গেম টাইম এদের বেশি থাকবে।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. Nigel Shujan Bhai is saying, hello, brothers. Good to see you all. Good to see you, brother. And then he's followed up with a question, best defend in 4.5. Ashfaq?
So top picks would be first defenses that will come into mind are the Villa defenses. Uh, you have Cash, Paul Torres, and Mings. Take your pick. Then obviously Botman is a very popular option because of Newcastle's defensive pedigree last season. And outside of that, there are not many options. But maybe because Brentford has a very good initial fixtures, maybe Henry or Pinnock can be a decent option as well. So you should, if you are going for 4.5, maybe pick one of Villa, then Newcastle, then Brentford, in that order.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Having 9 is asking Parvez, repeat correction, sorry. Mitoma plus Shaw plus 4.5 forward, 0.5 থাকে অথবা 4.5 mid, Watkins আর Bissaka.
মিটোমা শ 4.5 ফরওয়ার্ড, 4.5 মিড। আমি প্রথমটাতে যাইতে যাব, মিটোমা শ প্লাস 4.5 এর ফরওয়ার্ড, এটাতে যাইতে যাব।
Thanks. And then Sadi Al Mahmoud Bachu Bhai is saying, did I read the name right? Yes, Sadi Al Mahmoud Bachu Bhai. Who will be the striker if Kane leaves? I think it's obvious, Richarlison, right? Yeah, they don't have any other striker, right? Okay. And then Sadi Al Mahmoud Bhai Bachu Bhai is again asking, Kane is leaving for Bayern. What's next without Kane? Ashfaq, what's next without Kane?
In
Short.
terms of FPL or in terms of Tottenham? In terms of
Both.
Tottenham, I don't think they are no closer to winning any trophies than they were a few years ago. In terms of FPL, I think having an asset like Kane, disappear from FPL is a loss altogether. But you have to take into consideration that after the loss of Kane, there are not many premium options now, which means we have more options to invest and tinker our teams, because of lower priced assets. So I think there's an advantage to many FPL managers out there, because which means we'll have more options that our team will be different rather than the template teams.
I think one of the thing for in terms of FPL, just to add to this point, is that Kane is the only player, because of Ange Ball, Kane is the only player that would destroy this current template that we have. That's one. But now that he's leaving, headache is gone. So there is no need to worry about it. Yeah, you can stick with Haaland and anybody with Watkins or Jackson and stuff. Yeah, good riddance. Tihan Mahmoud is asking Parvez, Madison plus Yao Pedro or 4.5 midfielder plus Watkins. Already have Salah, Saka, Rashford, Mitoma, Haaland, Pedro, Gabriel, S2, Stones, etc.
I like to go with Madison plus Joao Pedro. এটার পিছনে কারণ হলো 4.5 মিডফিল্ডার যেটা আমরা দেখবো যে হয়তোবা নাকাম্বা অথবা অ্যান্ডারসন, এর সাথে ওয়াটকিন্সের চাইতে আমি প্রেফার করব মেডিসন অ্যান্ড জোয়া পেড্রো। আর একটা জোয়া পেড্রোর ক্ষেত্রে যেটা বলবো যে 5.5 মিলিয়নের জোয়া পেড্রো কিন্তু পেনাল্টি টেকার, আর মোস্ট লাইকলি ইজ এ স্টার্টার।
প্লাস কম্বাইন্ড ভ্যালু যদি দেখি তাহলে আলটিমেটলি প্রথম থেকে বেশি আউটপুট আসার কথা আর কি। রাইট, সজীব মাহমুদ ভাই ইজ আস্কিং ক্যাপ্টেন হাল্যান্ড অর গ্যাম্বলিং উইথ সাকা অর রাশফোর্ড? আশফাক?
I don't think gambling is initial concern for you, because in FPL you are looking to have a solid start, because if you're gambling at the beginning and you lose, or you are having a slow start, it gets very difficult for you to catch up over the course of the season. So I would rather recommend that you go with captaining Haaland, not take a gamble, at least in the beginning of the season. Then when you are have some decent rank or something, that is when you look to pull away from the less. That is when you can do some gambling. But initially, go with Haaland. Please go with Haaland.
So Siam Bhai, Shamsudjoha Bhai is asking, sorry, where is the pen? basically he wants to say Ken Jaitese Bayern. He's asking a question because that's when he sounds like that, but that's the correction actually. Yes, that's what the media report is saying, that he has accepted or something like that with Bayern. And of course, Ken has already said that everything has to be resolved before the season ends, otherwise he is staying. But it looks like now things have really speeded up, and yeah, he is most likely leaving. Ithakarul Islam Bapi Bhai is asking, Parvez, since Kane is leaving, Madison could be a good pick from Spurs. What do you think?
এটা আসলে একটু স্ট্র্যাটেজিক্যাল কোশ্চেন। আসলে ট্যাকটিক্যাল জিনিসগুলো এগুলো নাদিম আমার চাইতে অনেক বেশি ভালো জানে। বাট এই মুহূর্তে যদি আমি বলি যে কেনের মতন ফিনিশার অবভিয়াসলি তাদের যে সেকেন্ড অপশনটা আছে রিচার্লিসন না, সো একটু হইলেও সেই জায়গাটাতে এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট রিটার্নের যে জিনিসটা সেটা একটু স্লাইটলি ডাউন হবে মেডিসনের। বাট মেডিসন আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে পজিশনটাতে প্রি সিজন খেলছে এই পজিশন থেকে আসলে সে গোল করারও ক্ষমতা রাখে। সো আমি মনে করি যে এপিএল প্রসপেক্ট থেকে মেডিসনের যে ইয়াটা সেটা আমার মনে হয় যে খুব একটা কমবে না। সো সেটা রিচার্লিসন আসুক বা যেই আসুক, মেডিসনের পজিশনটাই বলতেছে যে মেডিসনের কাছ থেকে আমরা এবার একটা ভালো সিজন এবং ভালো একটা আউটপুট আশা করবো।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. Then our very own Jahangir from all the way US is asking, is it risky to have Saliba instead of Gabriel? Professor Ashfaq, what do you think?
I think we covered this in our initial discussion regarding the Arsenal discussion, and but you've come to the conclusion that Gabriel is indeed a better choice over Saliba, primarily because Gabriel has an added aerial threat. So Gabriel over Saliba would be the preferred choice here. It's not that Saliba is a bad defender or Saliba isn't a bad pick, but because they're evenly priced, Gabriel has an added aerial threat. Gabriel is the better pick here.
Thanks. And then if somebody from APLBD is asking thoughts on having Diaby, Parvez, don't have Watkins?
এই জায়গাটাতে যেহেতু ওয়াটকিন্স নাই, তাহলে ডিআবি একটা ভালো ডিফারেন্সিয়াল অপশন, এবং ডিআবি যে পজিশনটাতে খেলতেছে ফরওয়ার্ড পজিশনে ওয়াটকিন্সের পাশেই খেলতেছে। সো মোস্ট লাইকলি অ্যাস্টন ভিলার যে অ্যাটাকিং রিটার্নগুলো আসতেছে এক্সজিআই এর মধ্যে আমার কাছে মনে হয় ডিআবি থাকবে। সো ডিআবি ইজ এ গুড পিক এবং ভেরি গুড ডিফারেন্সিয়াল পিক।
Okay. And then Shamim Hossein is asking, what about KDB? Ashfaq?
The thing with KDB is that what we understand is Pep is not rushing him back into the team. He is fit, but we are not sure at the moment if he's fit enough to start the game. So we are not sure if he's fit enough to start the first game week. But based on what we have seen, he should be in the starting 11 by the second game week. So if you have your eye on KDB, I would suggest that not bring him in immediately. Wait till at least one game when you see him starting, then invest in him. Otherwise, just wait a bit to see if he's starting or not. Because what we can understand based on the preseason friendlies and the Community Shield, that Pep is slowly integrating him into the team rather than rushing him in. So that is what the situation of KDB is.
Thanks, Ashfaq. And then I think Jahangir is asking, game week 1, play Chilwell or Botman? Parvez?
আমি চিলওয়েলে যেতে চাবো, কারণ এটার কারণে আমি যে কারণে যে চিলওয়েলের অ্যাটাকিং প্রসপেক্টটা অনেক অনেক বেশি, এবং এর আরেকটা ইম্প্যাক্ট যেটা আমরা একটু আগেও নাদিম এবং সাইব এই জিনিসটাতে ডিসকাস করতেছিল, যে নতুন নিয়মের কারণে আসলে এই ক্লিন শিটের প্রসপেক্টটা অনেকটা কমে যাবে। অর্থাৎ
লিভারপুলের ক্লিন শিট,
হ্যাঁ লিভারপুলের ক্লিন শিট এবং বিগ অ্যাট দ্য ব্যাক, যেই আপনার একটা ফরমেশনের কথা বলছিলাম যে অনেকে বড় বড় ডিফেন্স নিয়ে, এই প্রসপেক্টটাও অনেকটা থাকে অনেকে বেড়ে আসবে। সো আমি এই দুজনের মধ্যে অ্যাটাকিং প্রসপেক্ট বেশি থাকার কারণে চিলওয়েলে যাইতে যাবো।
Ashfaq, Rai Al Hassan Bhai is asking, will Man City starters be benched because the first game week is an easier opponent?
So, Rahil Hassan Bhai, you need to consider that in the Premier League there are no easier opponents because it's one of the most competitive leagues in the world. And if you follow Premier League over the past few seasons, you'll remember the Norwich game where Norwich just came into the Premier League, and City was playing. Then City was overwhelmingly favorite to beat Norwich, but ended up Norwich beating them 4-1, I think. So City, I think, does not take any opponent for granted. So benching their star players because of an easier opponent should not be a concern for City. So City will likely play their best team, which is available to them. And based on what you've seen in the Community Shield, we are assuming that they will likely play at least 90% of the team which started the Community Shield.
Sorry, guys, my internet is fluctuating, so I'm just switching off the screen for now. Otherwise, the pod will shut down. Rafiad Dayan Bhai is asking, Estupinian, Gabriel, Baldock, নিয়েছি 9.5 million বাজেটে কোনটা বেটার হবে স্টোনস প্লাস 4 million ডিফেন্ডার অর ক্যাশ প্লাস ডালো টিম্বার
স্টোনস প্লাস 4 পয়েন্ট ডিফেন্ডার স্টোনস প্লাস 4 পয়েন্ট ডিফেন্ডার এই জন্য আমি বলছি কারণ ডালোট বা টিম্বার দুইজনের খেলার চান্স স্লাইডলি কম। আমি ক্যাশের সাথে এই জিনিসটাকে আমি এর চাইতে বেটার মনে হয় যে স্টোনসের সাথে যদি আমি যদিও 4.5 এর 4 মিলিয়নের ব্যালডগ আছে তারপর আমি স্টোনসকে জন্য আর একজন 4 মিলিয়নের ডিফেন্ডার নিতে যাব সেটা মোস্ট লাইকলি হতে পারে লুটনের কাবরে।
রাইট, থ্যাঙ্কস। And then Rafiat Dain Bhai is asking another question, Ashfaq. Already took Estupinian, Gabriel Baldock with left 9.5 million. Which one is better? Stones. This one we already asked, right? So, Aki question. Sorry for that. Then Ashraful Arifin Bhai is saying bench boost. Interesting, not bad, Parvez Bhai. Okay, thanks, Bhai. And then Naimur Rama, Shian Naim is asking, Khaise, Nadim Bhai, team Madison. Okay, guys. Okay. And then Shamsudza Bhai is asking, you have married?
This is
yes.
not only me,
yes.
This is the whole FPL community altogether. You are destroying both Madison's career and you are destroying Spurs' season. So this is not only me, this is the whole FPL community here.
Please get rid of him in gaming, Nadim Bhai. Okay. If Madison really delivers, okay, I will write a comment. I will write a post on our page tagging Ashfaq and tagging Shams Bhai and tagging Shian Naim. Okay. I will write a post about it. Okay. I shall dedicate that. And if I don't, then I will apologize again. If matters flops, I will apologize. Animesh Bhai is asking best GK for a long term. Ashfaq.
I don't think there's a right answer for this. So I will answer from my perspective. I'm currently bent on between Johnston or Flecken. Bit more on Flecken because Flecken has the better fixtures over Johnston, but Johnston probably plays for the better defensive team. So I'm a bit divisive here. But if you want to invest in a bit pricier goalkeeper, a lot of people have invested in Onana. Because United, having a 5 million goalkeeper for the long term can be beneficial. So that is something you can consider. Otherwise, I think you cannot go wrong either with Flecken or Johnston, who has decent fixtures or defenses in the short term.
Right. Thanks. Rakib Rahman Bhai is asking, what about cash? Parvez?
ক্যাশ আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং একটা পিক। এটার পিছনে একটা কারণ হলো যে অ্যাস্টন ভিলা কিন্তু ডিফেন্সিভ ওয়াইজ এই সিজন আমার কাছে মনে হয় যথেষ্ট একটা ভালো টিম। পাওয়ার টরেস কারণে এটা আরো ভালো হবে। সো ক্যাশের কাছ থেকে আমি অ্যাটাকিং রিটার্ন পাবো। এটা একটা মানে 4.5 মিলিয়ন একটা ডিফেন্সের কাছ থেকে এই জিনিসটা আসলে খুবই একটা ব্যাপার, যে সারপ্রাইজিং একটা ব্যাপার হবে। সো আমার কাছে ক্যাশ এমনিও পছন্দের। সো আই লাইক টু গো উইথ ক্যাশ।
Right. Mahmudul Kais Amit Bhai is asking, if Kane leave, then pick Richarlison over Madison is a good decision. Ashfaq?
Richarlison for me is a wait and see, because with Kane gone, Richarlison is obviously be the first choice striker here. But what I can understand from Richarlison last season, he did not have the best of seasons, and at least domestically, in England, he's struggling a bit on confidence. So when a striker loses his confidence, I think sometimes it's a bit difficult to get back. So because he has not been in the best of confidence, being for not scoring goals, etc. So Richarlison, I think is a wait and see for me. But like Saipai rightly said, that he's still a very good striker. He's a first choice striker for the Brazilian national team. He also performed in the World Cup, so very good chance he'll turn this around and be on a goal scoring spree. But like I said, it's a wait and see for me how Spurs copes without Kane, because I think Spurs is a much lesser team without Kane.
Right. Ashfaq, this is a comment that you might have to defend. Shamsudza
Yes.
Bhai is asking, Ashfaq bhai, you are saying you have kept Estupinian cause of ownership and not having him could be dangerous, but you're not having the most owned midfielder while you are going with a heavy midfield. Pretty weird to me.
So,
What do you think?
Shamsiam bhai, I have a I have an answer to that. So obviously you are referring to Saka here. So like I said, that Trossard, the only reason I picked Trossard was because I wanted a differential in my team. I've been looking at team news or any other forums to sense that if Trossard starts the games or not. If he does start, then I think if then likely Martinelli will be in the center forward position, and then that makes Trossard a very good differential. That is why I have Trossard in my team. The reason I don't have Saka in my team is because I'm a United fan, and having both Rashford and Bruno in my team played to my emotions a bit. Like I said, it's not the final team that I'm considering. I will probably tinker it around a bit. I probably will likely, my thought process is I'll probably likely move out Bruno and bring in Saka at the last moment or later. But like I said, when I made the team, a bit of emotions played its part, and that is why I have two United attackers in my team. But probably likely that Bruno will, make way for Saka before the team is finalized.
Oh my goodness, there's so many probably and likely and assuming and this and that. Anyway, Ashfaq, thanks. Ashraful Arifin by saying bench boost interesting, not bad, Parvez bhai. And then somebody from the community is asking Parvez, Brighton থেকে attacking option.
এই মুহূর্তে যদি অ্যাটাকিং একটা অপশন থাকে সেটা হলো মিটোমা, অবভিয়াসলি, কারণ তার ওনারশিপ 38-39%। এই মুহূর্তে যদি স্ট্যান্ড আউট কোনো ব্রাইটনের অ্যাটাকিং অপশন থাকে সেটা হলো একমাত্র আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে এই মুহূর্তে মিটোমা।
Okay, I think I can answer this one. Sorry, where is it? Okay, Shams is CM Bhai saying, funny how no one is talking about Odegaard. I would have definitely got him if I don't think Salah is a must for my playing style. Shams Bhai, we did discuss about Odegaard, and as for my discussion with several Arsenal people and also with our analysis that we did at the very beginning with Arsenal, we did say that Odegaard is going to play a bit deeper. So his output is likely to decrease as per the Arsenal experts or Arsenal fans. So that is why we are not considering Odegaard, but that does not mean that Odegaard is still a bad shout. But yeah, we did discuss about Odegaard in the Arsenal section, and we discussed a lot about it. So you can have a look at it and you can check it out. Yeah. Thanks, bye. And then Jangir is asking with Gavardiol signing and Walker staying, do you really think Stone is nailed on? Man City are also trying to get Paqueta, which can bring Kovacic also into a pivot position with Rodri. Isn't it too much risk for a 5.5 CV who doesn't provide any except CS? Ashfaq, you want to say something about it?
So the thing why everyone is considering Stones is one of the reasons is that City has one of the best opening fixtures in the Premier League, opening round of fixtures in the Premier League. So if anyone has to invest in the City defense, I think Stones is about the best option you can bet on. One of the reasons is that Stones is a very versatile player. It's not necessary that he will start at center back. You're considering Stones as a center back, but Stones is a player that can play as center back, that can play as a right back, that can also come into and play as a midfield, which he did at the second half of last season. So as you already know that in the second half of last season, Stones was one of the most informed players in Guardiola's side. I think one of the main reasons that they were such an effective side in the second half of the season, that went on to win the treble, was because Stones, positioning changes in the center of midfield instead of the defense. So the argument is right that because Kovacic has come in, Stones will not have his place anymore. But Guardiola has just started training. I think it will still take some time for him to integrate into the into the City team. I think at least my understanding is this might take 2 to 3 game weeks. So in that time, Stones is as good as bet as any to get in your team. So City has one
Okay.
of the best opening features, and they have obviously I think they have the best defense in the Premier League as well, next to Arsenal I think. So I don't think Stones is a bad choice overall, and I do not agree totally with the fact that Stones is just for the clean sheets because he has a pretty decent aerial threat as well. Anyone who had Stones when he scored 2 goals 2 seasons ago would confirm that.
Thanks, Ashfaq. I just want to add to one more point to what you said. At the Athletic wrote a very good article on this Gavardiol signing. And one of the main points that the Athletic was actually trying to highlight was that the first season for any player under Pep can be very, very difficult. Yeah, because he wants perfection. And until unless you don't get that perfection, you're not in the team. And it has happened with several people. Yeah, be it with Laporte, be it with Stones, be it with Diaz. I think Diaz was the only player who came in straight away. But even with that, some forums in the city forums, fans forums, they were discussing that Gavardiol will probably go as the left back. So they will place 3 centre back, and then Stones will still be moving into the pivot as Ashfaq has said. So yeah, I would still go with Stones. Yeah, I would still go with Stones. So I don't think so. There is too much to discuss really in this case. Okay. Somebody in the community says, guys, you got to sleep tonight. Tomorrow you won't. I don't know in what reference he said it, but yeah, if you're talking about we staying awake and doing
Because
the pod,
tomorrow
yeah,
is FPL deadline. Tomorrow is the first game of the Premier League. Tomorrow we won't get any sleep. So that is what he's probably referring to.
yeah. See, a player, anybody who plays games or anybody who's been a real athlete in life has always been excited the night before and has always been excited on the day itself. And sleep is not a matter. Once the whole thing is over, they automatically fall off to sleep, just like Ashfaq is sleeping right now. Yeah. See? Okay. That's it. Sadman Chaudhary is saying better pick from Spurs, Son, Madi, Kulu, Parvez.
এই মুহূর্তে যেহেতু কেন চলে যাচ্ছে সেহেতু একটু ওয়েট অ্যান্ড সি, বাট এই মুহূর্তে স্ট্যান্ড আউট যদি কোনো অপশন থাকে সেটা হলো মেডিসন, বাট হু নোস যে নেক্সটে সনো এই একটা অপশন হইতে পারে। সো আমার কাছে এই মুহূর্তে মেডিসন।
Right. Somebody from the community is asking Ashraf Zaman, yes, for game week 1, but very difficult to say after that, more or less expected to start as a right wing. I don't know in what context this was said and to Ashraf Zaman Bhai, but I don't know. I don't remember the question. Okay, I don't know what is this HG and then H and then GH. I don't know what is this. Thank you, Yasin Demirok Bhai, for your comment, and he just goes on with GG and HG and everything. Anyway, moving on to the next real comment here. Rafia Dayan Bhai is saying already took Estupinian Gabriel Baldock.
Did we
I think we
answer
answered
this?
this one. Yes, we did. Tanvi Tarwal Bhai is asking, Yao Pedro or Jackson, Parvez?
জ্যাকসন, কারণ এনকুকু না থাকার কারণে জ্যাকসন অবভিয়াসলি স্টার্টিং লাইনে পেতে হবে এবং মেইন স্ট্রাইকার হিসেবে খেলে। সো জ্যাকসন।
Ashfaq Rafia Dayan Bhai is asking, with 14 million left, 1 forward plus 1 mid, Bruno plus Yao Pedro or Rashford plus Mubama or Jota worth considering even having Salah in my team? He looks very promising and I have a doubt on Rashford Bruno.
Mubama is a 4.5 forward.
Yeah, 4.5 forward, yeah.
Okay, in that case, I would rather have 2 playing forwards. If you're playing both of them, I'd rather have. It depends on your formation, right? So if you're playing both of them in both combination, if those are your starting 11 players, then I will obviously go with the first option, because in that case you will have starting players in your first option in Bruno and Joao Pedro, who I believe will start probably in the number 10 position. And regarding Jota, I think in the short run he is a good option. He's a bit of differential as well. But my only concern is because Luis Diaz is now fully fit, what I can understand, and he will give stiff competition to Jota in the left wing position. He was he seemed pretty, bang on form, or passed the eye test in the end of last season as well. So that is a small concern I have. Otherwise, Jota can be a good differential pick. But if you think that is a bit of a risk for you, I would rather go with the first option between Bruno plus Joao Pedro.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Abra Sharia Bhuya Adi Bhai is asking Salah or Salah Haaland কে নেওয়ার পর 4-4-2 খেললে ওয়াটকিন্সের ডিফেন্ডার পাউ টরেসকে নেওয়া যায়, আর 3-5-2 গেলে ডিয়াবি ভিসা, সো কোন ফরমেশন গেলে বেটার?
যেহেতু সালাহ এবং হ্যালান্ড টিমের মধ্যে রাখার কারণে ফরমেশনে একটা আসছে, আমার মনে হয় যে 4-4-2 এই অপশনটাতে গেলে বেশি ভালো হবে, কারণ ওইখান থেকে ইজিলি যে কোনোভাবে সুইচ করে আমরা অন্য জায়গায় যেতে পারবো। সো আমি প্রথম অপশনটাতে যেতে দেবো, ওয়াটকিন্স আর পাউ টরেস। যেহেতু সালাহ হ্যালান্ডকে রাখার পরে ওয়াটকিন্স এবং পাউ টরেস, অর্থাৎ 4.5 মিলিয়নের একটা ডিফেন্ডার আছে, সো আমি ওইটাতে যাইতে দেবো 4-4-2 with Watkins and Pau Torres.
Thanks, Parvez. Imon Bhai is asking Richa plus 4 million defender or Mitoma plus 4.5 million defender. Ashfaq?
Mitoma plus 4.5 for me, because like I said, Rika is a wait and see for me. I don't, consider him it because of his last season form.
Right. Okay. Choto Mas is asking Parvez, 4.5 million best GK without Pickford?
Johnston.
Okay. Kazi Muhammad Arman Bhai saying, I have no Arsenal defender. Should I go with Ramsdale only? Ashfaq?
No, because with Raya signing, Raya will give stiff competition to Ramsdale, and there's a good chance Raya might come into the first 11 in the near future. And goalkeeper is one position that most FPL managers rarely does a transfer on. So any goalkeeper you will pick, you'll probably pick him for the long run, at least for 9 to 10 game weeks if you're not planning on an early wild card. So Ramsdale, I think, is a bit of a risk. Rather, if you do want to invest in the Arsenal defense, invest in the center backs, preferably Gabriel.
Right. And then Khalid Russell Bhai is asking, Wisa or Joao Pedro, Parvez? Already I have Haaland, Mubama, Bruno, Salah, Saka, Mitoma, Mings, Botman, Gabriel, Shaw, Estupinian, Pickford and Areloa.
এই ক্ষেত্রে যেহেতু আপনার টিমের মধ্যে দুইজন মিডফিল্ডার আছে যারা হলো অলরেডি ব্রাইটন এবং এমবুএমও আছে ব্রেন্টফোর্ডের, এবং আপনি নিতে যাচ্ছেন উইসা বা পেড্রো, তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে যাকেই নেবেন আসলে ডবল আপ হয়ে যাবে। বাট এই ক্ষেত্রে আমি উইসাকে বেশি প্রেফার করবো, কারণ উইসার মিনিটটা আমার কাছে মনে হয় বেশি সিকিউর জোয়া পেড্রোর চাইতে। সো উইসা।
Right, Ashfaq. Our dear friend professor is challenging.
This question is to Parvez Bhai.
Okay, Parvez, this is it. আমাদের জাহাঙ্গীর আমাদেরকে মোটামুটি আমাদের কনসেপ্টটাকে চ্যালেঞ্জ করতেছে, which is good. The thing is, XG doesn't give us any extra point. Even with the highest XG, he scored only 3 goals. He's talking about Gabriel, by the way.
Yeah.
He scored only 3 goals. After 3 goals, scoring 3 goals in 38 games, he only had 16 bonus points. Saliba, onnodike, had 15 bonus points from 27 starts. Also with 11 extra starts, Gabriel only scored 29 extra points than Saliba. My thought is Saliba will provide more bonus points than Gabriel, but I am concerned about the high ownership of Gabriel. Any thought about this, Parvez bhai?
আসলে এই জায়গাটাতে সালিবা অথবা গেব্রিয়েল যেই দিই, সেই ক্ষেত্রে এখানে ওনারশিপটা কোনো ফ্যাক্টর হবে না, বিকজ অফ দুইজনেই আর্সেনাল ডিফেন্স। সেই ক্ষেত্রে আসলে আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে ক্লিন শিট থট থেকে যদি যাই তাহলে অবভিয়াসলি দুইজনের একজনকে পিক করলেও আমার হয়ে যাবে। বাট যে জিনিসটা হবে যে ডাউন হওয়ার চান্সটা, এক্সজি যদিও ফ্যাক্টর না, বাট ওনারশিপ একটা ফ্যাক্টর যেহেতু এখানে আসতেছে। সালিবা যদি স্কোর করে আমার টিমে তেমন ড্যামেজ করবে না, বাট গ্যাব্রিয়েল যদি স্কোর করে সেখানে আমার ড্যামেজ হওয়ার হিউজ চান্স আছে। সো আমি গ্যাব্রিয়েলই থাকতে যাব, নট মানে সালিবাতে যাইতে যাব না।
বাট এই দাম দুইজনের দামই কি সেম?
হ্যাঁ, 5 মিলিয়ন।
সো এই যে একমাত্র মানে কয়েকটা গেমের কারণে 11 পয়েন্ট এক্সট্রা শুধু,
আসলে
29 পয়েন্ট এক্সট্রা।
সো নতুন সিজন সবকিছুই নতুনভাবে শুরু হবে। ইভেন গ্যাব্রিয়েল আমার কাছে যতটা নেইল মনে হচ্ছে, সালিবা তার পজিশনে এই সিজনে আসলে এই জায়গাটা হারাইতেও পারে। সো আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে গ্যাব্রিয়েল বেটার পিক দেন সালিবা।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. Shibli Sadiq Shajib Bhai is asking, would I take Salah as second premium after Haaland or invest the money in other options? What's your suggestion? Ashfaq?
So we have the members in our discussion have different opinions on this one. My argument is that invest in Salah. He has a high ownership. His expected
No, he doesn't
point
have a high ownership. He has 23% ownership.
23 is still good. Anyway,
Nah.
so his expected points per game over the next 5 game weeks still highest among all midfielders. Uh, he's easier to downgrade to other assets in the near future rather than upgrade to Salah, because upgrading to Salah would require major surgery in your team. So those are my arguments to having Salah at least initially in the team to see how he plays or what positions he takes him, how he passes the eye test, etc., etc. There's a convincing argument that Salah is going wider and not going into the box more often, etc. But for me, I would rather start with Salah than downgrade him. In after 1 or 2 games based on his performances. So Salah and Haaland both from me.
Guys, if you have answered your question, we would appreciate a like. It's already very late, and you guys are staying late, and we are loving this conversation and question and answer sessions. So yeah, just share your love and please react to everything. If you don't like what we are answering, you can give us a rubbish reaction about it. But yeah, share, react. That's what we are asking you. Yeah, and let that be very genuine reaction. Yeah, rather than anything that is more created, let's say. Yeah. Okay. Then Jangir is asking, Onana or Flecken, Johnston, who provides more value? Parvez?
এটা যদি আমি স্কাউটের রেট মাই টিম দিয়ে যদি রেটিং করি, সেই ক্ষেত্রে আমি যে জিনিসটা পাইছি যে ওনারা যদি নেক্সট 6 গেম উইকে তার ভ্যালু যদি আমি ধরি তাহলে 4.67 এবং জনস্টনেরটা যদি ভাবি 4.94, which is better than ওনানা, এবং ফ্লেকেনেরটা আমি যদি ধরি 4.56। সো এই তিনজনের মধ্যেই যদি আপনি রেট করেন ভ্যালু পার মানে রিটার্ন হিসেবে, তাহলে নেক্সট 6 গেম উইকে হলো বেটার অপশন হলো জনস্টন 4.94।
Right. Thanks, Parvez. That is some statistical analysis right there. Khaled Russell Bhai is saying Visa or Gia Pedro? Ashfaq, I think we answered this, but I'm not sure. Can you just quickly say this? Visa or Gia Pedro?
I think Wisa has the lesser concern on the minutes over Joao Pedro, but I probably could consider Joao Pedro more if I have the information that he's on penalties. If the confirmation is that he's on penalties, I would prefer Joao Pedro over Wisa.
Right. Thanks, Ashfaq. Anupam Devnath Bhai is asking Fernandez plus Jackson plus Mitoma or Madison plus Joao Pedro and Rashford. Parvez?
I'll go with ফার্স্ট ওয়ান, ফার্নান্ডেস, জ্যাকসন অ্যান্ড মিটোমা। এবং এটার ক্ষেত্রে আমার যে জিনিসটা হলো যে প্রথম কম্বিনেশনে দুইজন প্লেয়ার আছে যার পার্টনারশিপ হলো মোটামুটি বেশি, যেমন ফার্নান্ডেস এবং মিটোমা। বাট এই সেকেন্ড কম্বিনেশনে একজন প্লেয়ারের ওনারশিপ বেশি, সেটা হলো রাশফোর্ড। সো পারফরমেন্সের দিক থেকেও আমি যে জিনিসটা বলবো যে প্রথমটা হলো সেফ। সো মিটোমা, জ্যাকসন অ্যান্ড ফার্নান্ডেস।
Okay. Shams Bhai has a message for me. Matters delivers or not, please get rid of him in Game Week 3. Nadim Bhai, I want to get him on Game Week 3 in place of Salah. But I think I'm going to keep him till Game Week 5 and see how my luck turns out. Yeah. So in case you are trying to get him in Game Week 3, reach out to me, brother, and I might 1 কোটি টাকা দিলে হয়তো বা বেচে দিতে পারি। ভাই যোগাযোগ করেন ডিএমএ। Anyway, jokes aside. Okay, we'll think about that. Rafiat Dayan Bhai is saying, my GK is Pickford plus Turner with no budget left. Will it be a problem for long term? Though I think the new rule, we will see very less CS even for big teams in this season. Ashfaq?
That's a fair assessment because of the added injury time. I think that's a fair assessment. Pickford isn't a bad pick per se. Saif Bhai, in our discussion, was a big advocate of Pickford. But if you're looking for 4.5 goalkeepers, I would rather prefer Flecken because of his fixtures and Johnston because I think under Hodgson, they are a somewhat defensively solid team. And Pickford, Dyche historically has a good defensive team, but that was not the case last season with Everton. This season might be different, but till I s- till I see such promise within the team, I would rather stick to Flecken or Johnston. But Pickford by no means is a bad pick. I think he can surprise us all.
This love for Pickford, I don't know why. I think it's a very English thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. Is it because he's playing under Sean Dyche, who hasn't really shown that defensive solidarity or solidity when it
It's
comes?
just his first season. Give him time.
Okay, okay. So why not give time for Pickford as well?
Pep did terrible in his first season. Was third, I think, in his first season in the Premier League. So
Okay.
with time, he did good.
So you're saying Sean Dyche will do good now? If you're saying Sean Dyche will do good within given time, why not give
No,
time
no,
to
I'm
Pickford
saying
too?
give him
That's what
time. I'm saying give him time. Historically,
okay.
he's with Burnley, they were a great defensive team. Great
Yeah,
defenders came out
I'm
of Burnley. Pope
not
and
disagreeing.
Tarkowski and me. We even invested. Some of us. I know managers who tripled up on Burnley defenses. I know managers who did that.
Listen, I was one of those managers when
Straying
I
away
picked
from the
Pickford.
topic. Straying away from the topic.
No, 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 no,
Staying away from the topic.
just not straying away. But I think this is an important discussion because we really didn't touch upon Pickford too much, and I just want to make this point very clear. There's a lot of love for Pickford, and I'm not trying. I'm trying to understand why it is. Is it because of Sean Dyche or is it not because? Now, if you're talking about Sean Dyche, give him time. He will make Everton defense very strong. Then yeah, let's give time to Pickford. When Everton becomes defensively strong, we will get Pickford as the option. But I don't know why immediately. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next topic. Yeah. Maib Ahmed Bhai is saying suggest two goalkeepers in budget of 9 million at least for 9-10 game weeks. Parvis?
ফ্লেকেন অ্যান্ড জনস্টন বিকজ দুইজনকারে যদি আমি অ্যাটলিস্ট 6 গেমিং পর্যন্ত মানে রেট মাই টিম করি তাদের 6 গেমিং এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট রিটার্ন আসতেছে হলো জনস্টনের 22.32 অ্যান্ড ফ্লিকেনের হলো 21.54 সো দুইজনেরই হলো 20+। সো আমি এই দুইজন কম্বিনেশনকে আমি 9 মিলিয়নের মধ্যে নিতে দেবো, ফ্লেকেন অ্যান্ড জনস্টন।
Right. So Shams Bhai saying, my bad, then no worries, brother. I joined the stream around 45 minutes mark. That's why I missed that part. Yes, it's okay, brother, no problem. But I would suggest you look at it. And we did talk about the left side conundrum of Arsenal and what it means and why Odegaard is going to play a little bit defensively because of Saka moving in and what do you call it? White kind of moving up and occupying that space. So Odegaard is going to provide the defensive cover mostly. Nazmul Hossain Toyma Bhai is asking Ashfaq, what are your thoughts about Chelsea and Spurs assets? Should we wait 2-3 game weeks to see how the team performs or trying to get them as early as Chelsea? Poch factor and Spurs, very attacking football. What do you think?
Regarding Spurs, like I said repeatedly in this discussion, that if Kane goes to Bayern, then I think this will have an immediate effect on the overall Spurs morale or playing style, whatever you call it. So Spurs would be a wait and see for me. Chelsea, on the other hand, preseason they have done very good. I would not um, suggest, probably if you are cautious, if you are a cautious manager, I would not suggest to overly invest in Chelsea assets. Maybe pick maybe one asset or maybe at best two. But in the short run, Chelsea could be a good option because short term fixtures for Chelsea is pretty good. But with Spurs, I think it's a wait and see, at least for me. But preseason wise, Chelsea, mind you, had a complete overall of their midfield and forward line. So that is something to consider as well. This is not the same Chelsea you saw at the end of last season. So I think there is some promise there. If you're a cautious manager, at least you can invest. Be cautious and invest in only one Chelsea asset. But Spurs is a wait and see for me.
Yeah, I disagree with Ashfaq on that last comment. Spurs wait and see. I would say go straight with Madison. Yeah, Nazmul Hassan Tanmay bhai, now it's up to you to decide. If you think why I'm saying Madison, I would suggest you go and look at Ange Ball, what I spoke about, and their strategy and tactics already in the beginning of the pod. So please do go have a look at that, and you will understand why I'm saying Madison. But yeah, I think our arguments differ in every case in this case. Oh, sorry. Shibli Shadik Shajib Bhai is saying Foden plus Foden or Grealish, Parvez.
ফরেন
Why not Grealish, Parvez?
গ্রিলিশের ক্ষেত্রে যেটা হলো ফরেন হলো একটু মানে অ্যাটাকিংটা আমার কাছে মনে হচ্ছে বেশি, কারণ ফরেন যে পজিশনটাতে খেলবে এইটা হলো একটা ফ্যাক্টর, বাট ফরেন আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে বেশি ডিস্ট্রাকটিভ গ্রিলিশের চাইতে। সো এই ক্ষেত্রে আমি সেম প্রাইস পয়েন্টে ফরেনকে বেশি প্রেফার করি।
Okay. Iman Bhai is asking Shaw Stones. Ashfaq.
That's a tricky question. That's a dilemma that I'm already having. But right now, I think I would rather go with Stones because they have the better fixtures and Stones is likely to play at least in the beginning game. So Stones for me.
Right. Thanks. By the way, we just broke the record of the longest pod, I think. 3 hours, 10 minutes. Yeah. Did we? Ashfaq, you and I had a marathon once in the first season. That was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, but that was just the two of us. There was no comments. There was no nothing. That was just the two of us discussing. Like you would discuss in a room. That was just the two of us discussing.
Yeah.
Now you have an audience.
Yeah, right. And we have still a lot of viewers watching it. So great. Wonderful. Nazmul Hassan Tonmay Bhai is saying which team could be the surprise package for the season and provide good must have differential picks like previous season Brighton. Otherwise, surprise package এবং কারা ডিফারেন্সিয়াল পিক দিতে পারে ব্রাইটনের মতো গত সিজনে।
আমার মনে হয় যে অ্যাস্টন ভিলা এইবার একটা সারপ্রাইজ টিম হবে, এবং এই টিম থেকে আসলে অনেক প্লেয়ার আছে যাদেরকে আমরা সারপ্রাইজ বা ডিফারেন্সিয়াল পিক, যেমন লাইক ডিয়াবি, ইভেন তাদের আউটরেস আসছে, ক্যাশ খুবই ভালো অপশন। সো আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে অ্যাস্টন ভিলা এটা এই সিজনে একটা সারপ্রাইজ প্যাকেজ হবে।
I think they have a very good team.
I think Burnley might surprise us all.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so. Burnley should be underestimated. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany is not a bad coach. Yeah, he's really a good coach. He's a good coach. But we think Vincent Kompany is more of a Man City captain rather than a football coach. So that's the problem. But anyway, Nazmul Hassan Tanmay, best attacker choice from Liverpool except Salah. Ashfaq.
I think if you're looking at attackers, I think the next best choice would be Jota. But I think he has some risk of minutes managed with Luis Diaz providing him stiff competition. But if you're looking to double up on Liverpool offense, then I think the next best option should be Jota.
Okay, thanks. Audience, if your question has not been answered, or if you have not watched the show yet, and if you still have more dilemmas, we will be coming live tomorrow. Parvez will be live tomorrow at 3:00 after Friday prayers, talking about our new pod, just FPL chat. So there will be no content. We are not going to discuss any content. We're just going to do Rate My Team, and we're going to talk about all your questions. So please do join in live tomorrow at 3:00.
ইন্টারেস্টিং জিনিস হবে, আমাদের এবার রেট মাই টিমগুলো কিন্তু আমরা ফ্যান্টাসি স্কাউটের ওই রেটিং দিয়ে আমরা করব, এবং সেটা আমরা শো করবো।
হ্যাঁ, সেটা হলো প্রথম 10টা টিমের জন্য। বাকিরা যারা 10 জন যাদেরকে সিলেক্ট করায় না, তারা এরকম লাইভ শেয়ার করলে we will be happy to again do the rating.
Right.
But yeah, that is no content, just chat, FPL, all your dilemmas, questions, whatever you need to do, rate your team. Please join tomorrow at 3:00 Friday. Parvez will be doing it. So yeah, that's the new pod that we have. So I just wanted to make that clear. So don't be disappointed if you have not been able to see your question being answered. Okay, Abu Hafiz Muhammad Waliuzzaman Bhai is asking, Plan 1, Onana, Gabriel, S2, Stones, Salah, Mitoma, Mbeumo, Rashford, Saka, Pedro, Haaland. Plan 2, Ramsdale, Gabriel, S2, Shaw, Stones, Shaw, Salah, Mitoma, Thomas, Saka, Rashford, Pedro, Haaland? Which one is better?
আই থিঙ্ক প্ল্যান ওয়ানটা বেটার, কারণ রামসডেলকে আমি যেটা বললাম যে আশফাক একটু আগেও বলছিল যে রামসডেল আসলে জায়গা হারাইতে পারে হলো রায়ার কারণে। তো আমি ওনানা যেহেতু ওই টিমে আছে, তো ওই টিমের প্ল্যান ওয়ানটার টিমটাতে আমি বেশি ফোকাস করবো। মোস্ট লাইকলি দুইটা টিমই অলমোস্ট সেম, এই জায়গাটাতেই চেঞ্জ। তো আমি ওনানার গোল কিপিং এ রামসডেলের চাইতে বেশি রিলায়েবল হবো, এই কারণে যে রামসডেল জায়গা হারাইতে পারে।
Okay. Jangir is saying, okay, my last question, I promise. Okay, Jangir, 4.5 million goalkeeper Flecken or Johnston for 15-16 game weeks won't consider Pickford whatsoever. Thanks, Jangir, for not picking Pickford whatsoever. Thanks. Ashfaq, what do you think? Flecken or Johnston for 15-16 game weeks?
So Jangir bhai, I have the same dilemma as well. My current team has Flecken, but I'm not sure if I should change it to Johnston or whatever. Flecken in the short term has better fixtures over Johnston, but in the long run, maybe Johnston, plays for a better defensive team. So those are my arguments between Flecken and Johnston. Right now, I'm leaning a bit towards Johnston because Flecken is a new goalkeeper, and although Brentford has the better fixtures, I'm not sure how good a goalkeeper Flecken is, or how he would adapt to the Premier League, etc. Johnston, on the other hand, is a proven Premier League goalkeeper. Nadim Bhai is a lover of Johnston for 3 seasons now around. So between them, Johnston, I think, for me, might win the argument because of these reasons, because he's a proven asset. Or whether Flecken's performance might be, still up for discussion. So between them, I think you should take your pick. I think both has equal amount, equal chances of giving you some sort of, same amounts of points, but maybe I'm hinging a bit towards Johnston because of these arguments.
Okay. Just to add to this, Jangir, since you asked, Crystal Palace concedes very less goals. They do not lose by 2-3 goals usually, yeah? They lose just by 1 goal. And Johnston is a very good shot stopper. So basically, if 4 shots are taken, 1 goal will go in and he will stop 3 and then he'll get 1 save point. Now, Johnston has the experience of Premier League as well, yeah? I'm not sure I've ever seen Flecken play the Premier League yet. So that's one thing. Second thing is Brentford does not really have the defensive solidarity or the solidity like Crystal Palace. So in that case, I would still go with Johnston. Yeah, just to add to what I've said already before. Okay. Qazi Mohammad Arman Bhai is saying, I'll go with 3-5-2. I have Chilwell. Stone's opinion, I have no space for Arsenal defender. Can I go without Arsenal defense, Parvez?
একটু রিস্কি, বাট আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে রিস্ক না দিলে আসলে এই গেমটার মধ্যে একটা ফান একটা অনেকটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস। তো এই ধরনের রিস্ক নিতে কোনো রকম সমস্যা নেই। অনলি যদি হেভি আর্সেনাল ডিফেন্স থাকে সেটা হলো 28%, যেটা হলো গ্যাব্রিয়েল। বাট যদিও এইরকম ফার্স্ট গেমকেই যদি ক্লিন শিট বা এরকম যদি মনে হয় যে আর্সেনালের ডিফেন্সটা অনেক স্ট্রং, তাহলে আপনার কাছে এইরকম অপশন আছে, আপনি ইজিলি জাম্প টু লাইক গ্যাব্রিয়েল বা সামথিং এরকম প্লেয়ার। বাট আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে স্লাইটলি রিস্কি।
Okay, then Shams Bhai is providing to counter FPL BD Bhai. I would say that Saliba injury costed Arsenal the league. The 11-point games that Saliba didn't start, Arsenal got only 2 clean sheets, produced no goals and assists. So whatever extra point Gabriel got is worthwhile. Okay, that's an interesting point. Imon is saying best 4.5 million defense. Ashfaq, shoot.
So the best 4.5 midfielder would probably be the Villa assets, mainly Cash, Paul Torres, Mings, followed by Newcastle defense with Botman, followed by the Brentford defense, maybe Henry and Pinnock. So Villa, Newcastle, Brentford in that order.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Mahib Ahmed Bhai is saying, what's your thoughts on Brighton goalkeeper position? Is it safe to pick Steele for 4.5? I can answer that. Steele for now is still safe. Verbruggen is still there, but I think he'll take some time to gel in. And also he's young, and I think he doesn't have the real experience yet. So Steele, remember, Steele actually overthrew Sanchez, who was a regular goalkeeper. So the way Steele plays from the back, that's most important for Robert De Zerbi. The important thing is if Steele continues to perform like that and continues to save it, then I think yeah. And I was listening to one of the Brighton expert or Brighton fan, and he kind of believes that Steele is there. But yeah, over the season, Verbruggen will come in, but Verbruggen will most likely get his experience because Brighton is now also in the Europa League, so they will have a bit of a rotation. So that's where Verbruggen will probably play, and Steele will play the Premier League. So Steele is more likely the same position. Yeah. Shams Jebai then continues the discussion there while Saliba is on the pitch. Only two FCX extra points with 8 points, so 11 starting points. That's I'll consider that as 11 points. 9 though I doubt he got 11 points because Arsenal considered 2-3 goals. Okay. So that makes it Gabriel much better option in fact. Okay. My by says Salah must pick. I'm still confused. Parvez.
আহ, আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে না মাস্ট পিক বলা যাবে না এই সিজনে সালাকে, বাট গেমিং 2 যেটা সবাই ভয় করতেছে যে এই জায়গাটাতে আসলে সালা বর্নমাউথের সাথে, বাট লাস্ট সিজনে বর্নমাউথ আমরা সবাই জানি যে 9টা গোল করছিল বর্নমাউথের সাথে, বাট সেখানে সালার কোনো ইনভলভমেন্টই ছিল না। বাট এই সিজনে আসলে ডিফারেন্ট হতে পারে, নতুন সিজন ডিফারেন্ট, বাট মাস্ট পিক আমি সালাকে এই মুহূর্তে বলবো না। এই মুহূর্তে যদি কোনো প্লেয়ারকে মাস্ট পিক হয় সেটা হলো হ্যালান্ড।
Right. Okay. Abu Hafiz Mohammad Wali Zaman Bhai is saying why everyone is ignoring DCL. Say something about him. Ashfaq.
So Abu Hafiz Waluzaman Bhai, the thing with DCL is that DCL has gone through a pretty rough patch of injuries recently. His injury situation is so bad that recently Everton has even brought in a new striker from the Portuguese league. And DCL is not considered fully fit or fit enough to start all of the matches on a go right now. And because he is out for so long, I think he's also suffering from a bit of confidence as well. So that is why what the current situation with DCL is. Although he was a great asset maybe 2 years ago or something, but the run of injuries has affected him a bit much. So we hope that he will come back stronger and be an FPL asset like as before. But right now, with his fitness issues, he is a bit of a concern for FPL managers.
Right. Okay, then Jangi says, thanks for answering all my questions with so much patience, brothers. I'm at work and I joined the live by myself and still watching the full show. That's how much the opinion of you guys matter to me. I miss joining the show and discussion. We miss you too, brother. And best wishes to you all for the season in FPL, not to Man United fans. Buzz off, Scouser.
Right.
Yeah. That's me being Man United fan, and I just said that as a Man United fan. But yeah, thanks, brother. Thanks, Jangir. Thanks for the wonderful comments.
Right. And having a handsome host also helps. So that is something.
Yeah. Okay. Shams Bhai then says on Pickford issue, reason why I chose him is basically I'm giving him time to Onana, Kepa, Sanchez for first before game weeks. If all goes well, I'm gonna have an extra transfer on game week 5 in between Everton, Arsenal, worth the gamble. You give time to Kepa, Onana, Sanchez, but you are going with Pickford. I would give time to Pickford and go with Onana, brother. That's my way of thinking. But anyway, I don't want to drag this Pickford discussion, to be honest. I hope you understand my love for Pickford now. Yes, I do get it now. I do get it, brother. I do get it. I do get it, Shams Bhai. Kazi Muhammad Arman Bhai is asking, by the way, who's supposed to be...
Yeah.
Okay. Mitoma or Mbumo? Parvez?
Mitoma,
Mitoma. Okay. Shirazu Salek, Kazi Shirazu Salek in Dipto Bhai is asking, is Timber a starter? We think, yes, he's a starter. He'll start at the left back, I think, because of his physical prowess and also because he's defensively a solid defender. Plus, he can cut in and run along. The only weakness Timber has is his cross. And according to Arsenal fans, if his crosses improve, he will become a very good FPL asset and somebody that we will all be flocking towards because then he's likely to get not only the clean sheet, but also the attacking points. But until then, Timber is a wait and watch. But yeah, he's a starter. He'll be starting the left back, according to Arsenal fans. And that's why he's being brought in because that is one area where Arsenal was weak. We discussed all this left side conundrum. Kazi Sirajul Salikin Diptobhai. If you have time, please do go to the beginning of the pod. You'll see we are talking about Arsenal strategy and Arsenal tactics. We discussed it in detail, so you can have a look and you can see the counter arguments and the arguments that we make there. Abra Shariar Bhuya Adi Bhai is saying Johnston or Flecken. We have also already answered this. Johnston it is.
কারণ এটা আমার পার্সোনাল যে অপিনিয়নটা ছিল, যেখানে আমি বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে দুজনের যদি এক্সপেক্টেড পয়েন্ট আমি ধরি, যে রেট মাই টিম করে যদি ধরি, সেটাতে জনস্টনের হলো 22 পয়েন্ট এবং ফ্লেকেনের হলো 20 পয়েন্ট, এবং ভ্যালু রিটার্ন হলো যে এই দুজনের মধ্যে হলো আগায় আছে হলো জনস্টন 4.94 আর ফ্লেকেন হলো 4.56. সো জনস্টন ইট ইজ
Right. Okay. And then Mahib Ahmed Bhai is saying, is there any safe budget-friendly centre forward available without Haaland and Watkins? Please don't say Jackson, bhai. Ashfaq, stop sleeping and get up and say if it is Jackson. God, he's pretending. Look at it.
So
Anyway,
obvious budget-friendly options are between Visa and Joao Pedro. I think they are the more popular options. With Joao Pedro, we don't have a guarantee that he will start, but if he does start, he can be a great option, provided also he's on penalties, because pre-season friendly he took a penalty with Gross being on the pitch, so that is something. Wisa, on the other hand, is a more proven asset in the sense that he really has his minutes managed and plays most of the games. So between them, I think take your pick. They are both good budget options.
right. Kazi Mohammad Arman Bhai saying Gatpo plus Mbumo, Mitoma, Bernardo Silva or plus Jackson Parvis.
গ্যাকপো প্লাস এমবিএম আর মিটেমো.
Okay. And Shams Bhai saying I've missed his second part of the Gabriel counter. I'm not sure
No,
if I
you
missed
didn't.
it.
You didn't.
No, I brought it right. Yeah. Imon is saying any safe City mid. Already got Salah, Saka, Rashford, Mitoma, Eze. Should swap anyone with City mid. Ashfaq.
Safe City mid is probably between Grealish and Bernardo right now. Grealish can be a good option, but I'm not sure of its FPL output at the moment. But if you want to go for a second short-term City option, I think Grealish is the best bet, because although Bernardo Silva has a good chance of starting, Bernardo Silva has been in FPL for around 4 or 5 seasons now, and he has not been the most effective FPL asset. So if you want to wait a bit, I would suggest to wait till KDB gets a run of games or starting games. Otherwise, on the short run, if you want to go with 2 City assets from the beginning, I think Grealish should be your next best bet.
Okay. And this is the last comment for the day. By what's your thought on Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa? Last season he gave 142 points. Parvis?
আসলে
Nadim bhai, why don't you answer this?
I'm not going to answer this.
ওকে 5.5 মিলিয়নে যে মিডফিল্ডার গুলো আছে, এটা আমি বেটার অপশন মনে করি যে এখান থেকে হয় 6.5 যান, 5.5 মিডফিল্ডারদের চাইতে 4.5 মিডফিল্ডাররা বেটার হবে, এই জায়গাটা অন্য জায়গায় ইনভেস্ট করেন। সো ডগলাস লুইস আমি ডিফারেন্সিয়াল অপশন আমি বলবো না, বাট আমার কাছে মনে হয় 5.5 যদি আমি মিডফিল্ডারে ইনভেস্ট করি, এটা আমার কাছে ওয়েস্ট অফ মানি। আদারওয়াইজ আপনি 6.5 এ যান অথবা এই জায়গা থেকে 4.5। বাট ডগলাস লুইসের যেটা হলো পয়েন্ট রিটার্নটা একটা ব্যাপার, আসলে টিমের অন্যান্য দিক থেকে আমি চিন্তা করলে আমি ডগলাস লুইসকে এফপিএল অ্যাসেট হিসাবে কাউন্ট করবো না এই মুহূর্তে। বাট কোন যে নেক্সটে যায় তার অনেক কিছু চেঞ্জ হয়ে যাইতে পারে, বাট এই মুহূর্তে না।
Right. Okay. Just to say, Douglas plays more of a defensive midfielder, brother. So sometimes he'll come in forward, sometimes he'll get some goals, sometimes he'll play. But I don't think so he's really an FPL asset, to be honest. I really wouldn't think. I think Diaby is there. I think Watkins is there. Buendia is injured, by the way, so I think he's out for 8-9 months. But yeah, there are other options. I think now, what's the player? Ramsey. Ramsey becomes a very good option as well. 6 million. So yeah, those are the options that you should be looking at rather than Douglas, please. Yeah. Okay. And then really no more questions, please. I think we should wrap it up now. It's already 3.5 hours, guys, and yeah, let's wrap it up. And if you have more questions, we can happy to join in the FPL chat tomorrow. And then yeah, that's what we are going to do. Okay, Mubama will start. I don't think so. He's going to start, but I think he's definitely going to get minutes. But he's a very good striker, and he's a long-term striker for West Ham. So something that West Ham is going to really invest in. But yeah, as a 4.5 forward, you should have him because he's going to get minutes. So he might give you one odd 2 points, 3 points here and there, but sometimes an odd goal when you bench him. তারপর দেখা গেলো যেদিন বেঞ্চ করছেন সেদিন হলো সে গোল দিছে, তারপর গোল দেখার পর আবার খেলাইতে গেছেন, তারপরে আবার সে 2 পয়েন্ট দিছে, আবার দেন 2 পয়েন্টের বলে আবার বসাই দিয়েছেন, সেদিন আবার গোল দিছে। But it's going to happen like that. Yeah. Okay. And then Shamsbhai is saying Johnston save per game last season 2.9, Pickford saves per last game season probably Everton worst 3.35. I'm a big Johnston love myself, still choosing Pickford plus Turner to start with. Go ahead, bhai. Go ahead.
Season 8 is interesting.
Go ahead. This is what makes this season very interesting, to be honest. All the options that we have, and I think the variance matters. Yeah, this season the variance will matter. Okay. Iman Bhai is saying then, thanks for answering all my questions. Well, brother, we do all that. We always do that. So if you're watching the pod for the first time, probably you found it that we answered all the questions. But yes, we always answer all the questions, usually 99%. We don't leave any questions, and especially this being game week 1, we thought we will definitely answer. We tried keeping questions to a very limited period, but we can understand everybody is in demand and everybody needs calculated deadline, so it's okay. It's okay. Do join us more, and you will see that it's not something we do it one day.
Write us a review.
Yeah, we do it every time. So if you liked it, give us a review. Yeah, give us a review. Right. Thanks so much, audience. Thanks so much for the. Oh, there's another one. That you for your patience. Go to sleep now. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, bye. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much for staying awake for so late and for all the likes, for all the views and everything that you said. It's been a great time to have you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And in case there are more questions coming, unfortunately, we'll not be able to answer. Please do join us tomorrow again. And yeah, and of course, we'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thanks to Nadim Bhai, Parvez Bhai, and of course Ashfaq as well. If probably your name is missing, Ashfaq, that's why he doesn't.
আমার এখানে নাম নাই, আপনাদের নাম আছে। You are the true stars of the show. আপনারাই আর কি, আমরা না। Just goes to
You've been
show.
sleeping all the time. You've been sleeping. And you've been
I have answered each and every question without fail and efficiently and quickly to shorten this pod as much as possible. You cannot quote me for effort.
I can
ঠিক আছে? At the end of the day, but what I wanted to say is, yeah, basically আপনারা star of the show, and Ghana Football is what it is because of you, and the audience obviously appreciates it. So thank you for that.
People really listen to you, Ashfaq. Look at this comment. People do listen to you, yeah.
Right. Now, Nadim bhai চেহারাও সাইফ আলী খানের মতো লাগে. Nadim bhai চেহারাও সাইফ আলী খানের মতো লাগে.
And he continues. See, he says he tried to shorten it, and now he's dragging it. Okay.
Achha,
Sorry, Ashfaq bhai.
Let's go to sleep. Let's go to sleep. না এটা আমি হচ্ছে কি বলে চেয়ে যদি মানে বলার পর যদি কেউ বলে তাহলে তো সেটা হইলো না, সেটা হচ্ছে আউট অফ গিল্ট কেউ বলে আর কি। এনিওয়ে, it's been a long night. Thank you everyone for the audience.
Come on. Don't be like a crybaby now. Don't be like a crybaby. He said sorry, Ashfaq bhai. Thank you too. Just take it. Ashfaq, stop being a crybaby now. Stop.
Right.
And if you really want to be a crybaby,
this is my sleepy face. This is not my crybaby face. This is my sleepy face, not my crybaby face.
If you want to be a crybaby, here's a comment for you. Just ignore Ashfaq bhai as usual.
Right.
Okay, people are really getting onto your nerves now, Ashfaq. But anyway, thanks audience. It's been fun and it's been great. And in case you have missed the tactical changes that we discussed about Liverpool and Arsenal and Tottenham, please do have a look. In case you missed the defenders or the best options, please go have a look. There's nothing to discuss about captaincy. It's Haaland all the way. So yeah, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for staying so late. Thank you for tolerating all our Gono conversation for 3.5 hours. This is why we call ourselves Gono Football Fantasy, in case you're wondering. But in case you know it already, it's time to say goodbye before Ashfaq starts another sentence and drags it along for another 20 minutes. I will take
Everyone
goodbye.
pray for Nadim Bhai's health, that he does not suffer from any more fever because of FPL anxiety. Maybe this will be the season that he will beat me in FPL. Finally, maybe this will be the season.
See, he starts again. See, just when I was about to conclude and finish the podcast, he goes again. Yeah. Ashfaq, do you want to take it for 4 hours? You can.
No.
I mean, go on.
Nope.
Okay.
This is 3:31 now. Okay.
Okay. Right. Take care. Thanks, Parvez. Thanks, Ashfaq. And thanks, Saif, for joining. Thank you, audience. We'll see you tomorrow in the afternoon with more questions and answers. Until then, it's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.